Hey everyone, welcome back to Themis and Thought. Grab your coffee, water, tea, whatever you're drinking, go and get that. Um, so we are supposed to have a man's panel, and I'm still assuming it's going to happen. But like most of people's daddies in this community, they ain't here. Wait, girl, look, girl. One of the things. All right, let me do this. There is, I think, YouTube is fun, but it's also business, and so how you interact with someone via email when you're setting up a live stream or communicate, I believe says something about how you do business. And I think that's kind of, for me, indicate whether or not I would do business with certain people and whether or not I would do business with other people. Um, so I don't want to get too much into this because, like the last time, people will be late and then they'll come in, and I don't want them to feel so bad about being late. If you haven't liked the stream, there are some things that I wanted to get through in the beginning before, so this is good. I also have a Dr. Umar backup stream just in case. Um, so I'm just gonna leave it alone and let it simmer. I also have an event to get to at 10 o'clock tonight, so I don't have a ton of time. 3 hours is all I can give. So yeah. That being said, let me talk about Nicki Minaj first, right? So wait, Megan Thee Stallion has developed a sort of persona, it seems, in the music industry as all kinds of things. But one of the things is she's a social climber. I don't like people dragging Megan for being a social climber because it feels like that's what celebrity is. But I've always had a sort of bad taste in my mouth the way that her and Nicki fell out. Based on Nicki's recollection, Megan asked her to do a song, and Nicki says, I will do the song if you do this. And Megan says, yes, I will do this. Whatever this was, Nicki doesn't say. And then Nicki does the song, Real, and then Megan backed out of whatever it is that she was supposed to do. Now Nikki is upset and they go back and forth, subbing each other, and whatever. But I have a soft spot for Megan. The reason I have a soft spot for Megan is after her family, her mom, and everyone just kind of passed away. It just seemed like the world was against her, and I don't really like that. So, anywho, Party, her ex, dropped a diss song after she dropped a song called Cobra, and the world is a mess. So, I woke up today. If this came out before today, I didn't know. Megan has a song called Hiss. And why did Megan decide that she was going to come out and drag the world? And I'm going to put the lyrics, the parts of the lyrics on the screen that I really like. Now, y'all know I like some Nicki Minaj. You know I love Nicki Minaj, right? But girl, when a drag is a drag, a drag is a drag. So Megan decided that she's going to eat all them people up and she don't really care. And this is how she going to do it. So here we go. Let me pull up this lyrics for y'all. Because I was gagging. So she says, I'm not reading that. Yeah, that's too vulgar. That is too vulgar. This line right here. These H don't be mad at Megan. These H mad at Megan's law. Now, The legal nerd in me obviously knew what Megan's Law is. But for a minute, I paused because I was like, did Megan really drag Petty? Did did Megan did Megan really drag Petty? Anyway, so that's not on that. Then she went down. She also talked about men not liking BBLs and they have BBL scars. Drake, where you at? And then at the bottom, she says that you can download JPay and go schedule a conjugal visit. So I'm pretty sure at this point Megan is just turning off her phone, logging off the internet because she's getting dragged nonstop. So Angry Guy is actually here. So we'll get into that. Angry Guy, give me a second. I will add you to the screen after the intro. Thank you for being here, by the way. Anywho, not into that. Let's move on because I don't want to stick too much on that because I'm going to create my own video. Nicki Minaj responded. I mean, I don't really care. I'm not going to play Nicki's response. Thank you all 300 for almost 400 people in here. Remember to like the stream. Um I'm not playing this. She's talking about Megan's foot. But my thing is, when you start dating a child molester, a sex offender, it's very difficult to like take you seriously. You know what I mean? Like Nicki, no matter how much you push, and you know, I like Nicki, but like it's very difficult to win a back and forth when all they can say is your husband can't show up to your child's school. Like, look, I don't know where you go from there. I'm sorry. I don't know. I don't know where you go from there. So, Nicki, I would sit this one out, but y'all know Nicki is with the mess. So, it is what it is. This lady, Kim Burrell, this is the last thing, and then I'll jump into. We have someone here, so we'll jump into it after this. Kim Burrell is singing in church, and someone, no, actually, hear this. Listen to this foolishness. I don't like church women who do this. And this is why my Christian faith has been a problem for me, because people in church tend to think that they can disrespect other people, particularly these women. The Kim Burrell, this woman. They think they can get to disrespect people and just say in the name of the Lord. I think they can do that. And it's a problem because this is out of pocket. So let me play what she said. And I only do this because I'm looking for a church home in my state. And these people just turn me off from the church, honestly. Here.
Thank you. It's a solo. God's using me. Don't sing with me right now. Lord, I'm singing alone now. You, ma'am, with that mask. Let that mask work for you. I'm singing alone. Lord, I'll be back. No, I'll call on you when I'm ready. Thank your hand.
How are you gonna, as a Christian, sit there and say, lady with the mask, let that mask work for you? This is a solo. Like, this is out of pocket. She deserved to be dragged for it, so she came back to explain herself. And this is the like this would turn me off. And I didn't know if I was going to be laughing or be serious when I talk about it, because every time I go back to this, I'm either laughing or I'm pissed, right? And when I'm pissed, I'm super annoyed. But when I'm laughing, I find this funny because I know her type. Like, I know her. I've seen her in all my Baptist church in Jamaica, in the US. I've seen her. I know her archetype, and it's very disgusting. It is very condescending. It is really disrespectful. I absolutely hate it. But this is what she got to say because she's about to try to clean it up.
What a mighty happy new year, everybody. When I tell you, the year has started just the way we needed it to do. So, here is the narrative. I'm in the middle of ministry, and you know how you close out a sermon? And I'm singing, thank you, Lord. I'm thinking that I'm singing a solo, and you always got that one that has to join you. And I heard her, y'all, and she was singing, and I was just going for it. Thank, ma'am, because I'm operating in things of the Spirit. Sometimes when I operate publicly, everybody doesn't understand the dispensation of what I operate in. They just see me as Kim, the singer, who's not being the singer, who is not always the singer. I'm the preacher. I'm the person with the gift of the prophetic. But anyway, so I'm sitting there singing and I keep hearing her. And then the man in front of her said, "She's trying to tell you, ma'am." So this was somebody who was disconnected in the service, but it was cool. But if you go further into the video, you're going to see what happened. I pulled her up and then she went to dancing. What a time we had. I want to tell everybody COVID is starting to rise again, just like I told.
Nothing. She absolutely did nothing. I'm actually really exhausted with the church and the presentation of the church online because there is absolutely no reason for you to be this disrespectful. There's literally no reason for you to be this disrespectful. And so I'm really, really annoyed at the amount of bullying this lady engaged in and the fact that she thinks she can come out here and just say, "I did it in the name of the Lord," do a little smile, and then everything is okay. You are disrespectful, and it's people like you that turn other people away from the church. It is ridiculous. I'm operating in the spirit of the Lord, telling people to shut up and not sing with you. What if they're praising too? Well, she probably know the Holy Spirit wasn't there with them when she was doing it. That's why she was like, "Shut up, I'm doing a solo." Because ain't no way, absolutely no way. Anyway, let's get into this. Yep. And when I come back, I'll have Angry Guy on the on the screen. We'll get into some of the discussion. Hello, how are you?
I am good. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Is that a picture of you on your thumbnail?
No, that is a lovely generated AI picture.
Of do you know what it's generated off? Do you know what was plugged into the AI?
You know what? Just uh, just some specifications, to describe uh, my persona.
Are you white?
Part Asian, actually, I'm mixed, but I keep that to myself.
Oh wait, so you said you're mixed?
Yes.
Gotcha. Can I ask mixed with what?
I think I've given you enough details, but let's move on.
Wait, is this going to be like contentious? It feels like it's about to be contentious, and I don't understand why. I'm trying to have like a good faith, honestly, a good faith conversation. I have a list of questions.
Okay, so let's go ahead and get to your questions.
That was one of them, but it seems like you're not going to answer them. It doesn't seem like it's okay. I mean, we can just end it. It's fine. I can just do another stream. I want to start in a good sort of mode, and like the fact of your racial identity being a hidden is odd.
I am German and Chinese.
Oh, German and Chinese. All right. So, what do you discuss on your channel?
So I typically talk about men's issues, what's happening in the world, and yeah, that's really it. And men walking away from Western society, focusing on themselves, positive, uh, building a positive image for men, and masculinity. That's really it. I try to keep it
Oh,
positive.
so I'm not a very masculine guy. What do you talk about masculinity?
In terms of masculinity, well, it really comes down to the individual. It comes down to keeping basically learning how to control one's emotions, being a bit stoic, being responsible, taking accountability for oneself. I don't think that masculinity has anything to do with aggression or violence or disrespect or restricting rights of women or anything like that. I think masculinity has to do with being a man who respects himself, respects others, carries himself the way that God would want us to carry ourselves, and presents ourselves as gentlemen. I don't think I personally don't think that you're not a reflection of masculinity. I think that you're an excellent reflection of masculinity from what I've seen so far.
I appreciate that. All right. So you say it's about men going their own way. What does
No,
this
that is
mean?
incorrect. I did not say men going their own way.
All right, go ahead. What did you say?
I said men walking away from some of the things in Western society that I don't believe are productive for them, and instead finding their peace, finding their stoicism, and finding their futures for themselves. I am not a member of the MGTOW community. Let me just make that very clear.
Gotcha. When you say finding their peace, what do you mean?
Well, there's different definitions of peace, finding your peace within the world and finding your inner peace, and we can only find peace through Jesus Christ.
Oh, so you're a Christian.
I am not a Christian, I am a believer.
Can you make the differentiation for me?
And I can only speak for myself. Christianity is a religion, so I am not a part of the Christian religion, but I do believe in Jesus Christ. I believe in his message, and I am a follower of that. And that's the way I explain it.
So you're a follower of Christ,
100% follower of Christ.
but you're not a Christian.
I do not identify as a Christian.
Are you trolling me?
No, because Christianity and being a believer are independent of one another.
But yeah, Christianity and following Christ, you think, are independent of each other?
Christianity is a religion that came after Jesus Christ came to this world. He gave his life for us so that we could have eternal salvation. So you do not have to be a Christian or call yourself a Christian to be a believer in Jesus Christ. I can understand why you would say that, but my belief and what I truly believe is that you don't have to have a label to be a believer in Jesus Christ. You do not have to stand with the Christians to be accepted into the kingdom of heaven, or to believe in the Bible, or to follow the path of God. I don't think that you need those labels.
Gotcha. But all right, so I won't push you too much on your religion because I'm also trying to struggle through my own. So I won't push on that. So you said men not going their own way, but finding their peace. And you do you define peace broadly?
Peace comes down to the individual.
All right. But you are teaching men to find their individual peace. How?
I can't tell you. Okay, so here's the honest to goodness truth. I can't tell you how to walk, how to walk away. I can't tell you how to do anything in life. All right. I can only speak for myself. I can talk about my experiences. I could talk about what I know. And I can tell men that, you can't listen. My belief is that you really can't let others dictate, the decisions that you make. So I share my experiences, and then I allow others to come to their own conclusions, because ultimately before Christ, we will all be held accountable individually. That's how I operate.
Gotcha. So what is your YouTube channel for? Because it feels like there is a teaching. If you could sum up, and you did a bit, but it felt like you included men finding peace, but then you say peace is individualized. If you could sum up your YouTube channel, what would it be?
I think that it's about men walking away from Western society. And when I say walking away from Western society, I think that Western society has been co-opted and corroded. There are a lot of things I do not agree with. I believe that we have lost our path. I believe that we are no longer aligning ourselves with the teachings of Jesus Christ. And I believe that I'm telling men how to, walk towards a better path, be it in the US or be it overseas. Because I believe that America has now embraced degeneracy. I don't think that it's good for us. I think that adult content is terrible. I'm not preaching against someone's sexuality, but regardless of what sexuality you choose to identify as, I believe that there are certain standards that we should follow as human beings and as people. And I believe that we've deviated away from that path. And I talk about ways of finding not necessarily even traditionalism once again, but finding a means of returning to the family unit, because I believe that the family unit is everything, and I believe that that's something that we've lost very much. I think that platforms like Only Fools or Lonely Fans is not helping our society. I believe that it leads to young women selling their futures for instant gratification in the present, and I think that the men who support these platforms are disgusting, evil perverts who they don't actually care about women. They're only trying to exploit women. And I talk about, basically just walking away from this type of degeneracy and finding structure once again, and moving back towards the way things were before social media.
Would you say you are part of the manosphere?
I am a part of the manosphere, definitely.
And I'm assuming you're part of. Do you separate black and white manosphere?
To be very honest with you, I don't think I really don't separate black and white manosphere. I respect the fact that there are people in the black manosphere who have their own beliefs and ideologies, and I respect their views. And I am not I am not in any way trying to disrespect their views of the black manosphere. But at the same time, I believe that we are all human beings. We are all brothers. We are all created we are all created by Jesus Christ, by God, and in the eyes of God, we are all equal. So I don't personally differentiate, but I respect personal views and ideologies.
If I had a picture of you, would you be opposed to me showing it? If I hired like the private investigator that went and looked at the people behind, just so I could understand what was happening and make sure that there weren't any like quote unquote criminals or whatever, they came back with pictures and updates and things like that. But I'm assuming you would not want that out, so I'm not gonna put it. But when you say German, do you mean like what? German is not a race. So like
Okay, so what is the problem, my friend?
because like it feels like the person I'm looking at, and the person you claim yourself to be. What happened? What
think
happened?
I think he left.
So what
I did
I
not remove him. I think he left.
all right. So one of the things that I did previously on the Discord is I had a gentleman in the Discord who was abusive to a woman in his past, and I didn't know this. And because I didn't know this, I'm trying to be vigilant about kind of who and what I engage with, right? And this is not, and I shouldn't have said
Mhm,
hired. Um, I just don't like being lied to. Let's see.
mhm.
Angry guy, you're back. What happened?
I'm sorry, my internet connection fell.
All right. So you mean white German?
So I identified myself? Is there a problem with is there a
No, no,
problem
there's
with
not a
me?
problem. You said German, and I didn't know if it was. All right, so you don't want to talk about your race. Let's not talk about your race then. And I'm not doxing anyone. I will never put anyone's information out there. And if it felt that way, I want to apologize because I would never do something like that. You never said a race, and that's fear, and I'm going to leave that alone. I apologize. I will step back off of that. Um, can we move forward? And I won't ask about it.
Sure, of course. And again, I apologize. My connection just dropped.
All right, cool. And I didn't want, yeah. Anywho, all right. So, what are the degeneracy you see in the Western world?
Well, I mean, it's, for example, the breakdown of the nuclear family is really, really bad. I think the nuclear family is something that binds us together. And that is one of the biggest problems that we are facing is that breakdown. I touched on a little bit of it before. I think that online adult content is very damaging to both men and women in Western society and the continuous promotion of it. I think platforms like Only Fools and Lonely Fans, it damages both men and women. I think that TikTok, for example, is a terrible platform that is doing significant harm to our youngsters, and I think that that's something we're not taking into consideration. I think even platforms like Twitch have become extremely adult in nature, where they are just gateways to degeneracy, and I think that these are issues that we really need to address as a society.
Gotcha. All right. And so you're saying men should remove themselves from this Western world instead of um, changing it.
Well, in
Um, Go ahead.
Well, in this respect, let me make this very clear. When I say walk away, it could be removing yourself from Western society, but it's not solely leaving the United States or leaving Western country, but walking away from the things in Western society that are not beneficial to you and that are not benefiting society. So simply
And
not
that
participating in them,
and that's pornography for you. Is that it?
among other things. Yes.
What are the other things?
Like I said, like for example, promoting a breakdown of the nuclear family in addition to adult content, or for
Okay.
or
What do you think is causing the issues in the nuclear family?
I think that we've moved away from God. I think we've moved away from Christ. I think we've moved away from the focus on community, and I think those are some of the issues that are plaguing society as well.
How do you know if we've moved away from God when you don't adhere to God, the Christian God in the Christian Bible? You are a follower of Christ, but how do you know we've moved away from God as the Bible requires?
Well, I have my I read the King James version of the Bible. Simply not identifying as a Christian does not mean that I do not share similar values and ideals of Christians. I simply do not carry the label.
All right, and so you think the nuclear family structure should be within the bounds of the Christian Bible?
I don't agree with every single thing, but for the most part, yes.
Can you describe it?
Can I describe it?
Yeah, what the Bible requires for a nuclear family that you don't see happening.
Well, hmm. Well, give me a moment to think because I want
No,
to
you're
answer
fine.
your question. I want to answer your
Well,
question.
while you think, I'll read the super chat. Wait until he finds out prostitution is everywhere from the beginning of time, and that nuclear family is very Western. LOL. Um, that's actually a funny statement.
I think that the Bible basically tells us that we, as a unit, men and women are supposed to complement one another and rather than competing with one another. And I feel that in Western society today, men and women are more so competing with one another rather than trying to work together. And I feel like that's one of the big problems that we're witnessing.
Um, I Can you describe that? Because I don't see a competition happening, but I might not be looking properly. When you say they're competing, what does that mean?
I
And
think
by
that
the way, this isn't, you can ask me questions too, or we can clarify things. It's not just like an interview, it's hopefully an open dialogue.
well, I think that I think that unfortunately, when it comes to Western society, you know, men and women are competing in the workplace. We're competing for resources. We're competing for influence, and
But that's what I'm sorry. I'm trying to, what do you mean compete? Do you mean by women being in the workforce?
absolutely not.
All right.
Absolutely not. But I believe that society is continually pushing women and men to separate themselves from one another. And that's what I kind of talk about. What I mean when I say that, the breakdown of the nuclear family. It's no longer, it's kind of like I'm going to do my own thing and you're going to do your own thing, but then we're supposed to make something work, and I just don't think it happens like that. I think that there's very little compromise anymore. There's I don't think that the views of people are really realistic today. I think people are more aligning themselves with lust than actual, being realistic about what they're looking for in a relationship. And I think that that deviates a lot, very much away from the structure of the Bible. And of course, the Bible was written quite some time ago, but the word of the Bible, I do believe, is true. And I don't feel that, society has really held on to the values that we get from the Bible.
All right, but we're talking about competing, right? And women and men competing in the workforce. You're not saying that women shouldn't be a part of the workforce.
Absolutely not. I think
All
that
right.
women have made extraordinary contributions to the workforce. I think that they have an absolute place in the workforce, and I am not saying that in any way whatsoever.
So, what is the competition? Because it feels like for them to be both in the workforce, there will be um, positions that they both go after, and in that way, there's a de facto competition.
I think that a lot of the problem comes from the boss babe culture, where it's like a woman puts something like "I'm independent" in her bio, and I think that that's completely unnecessary. I think more so it's about saying yes, I can stand on my own 2 feet, but at the same time, I want to enter into a relationship to build a family unit, and we can work together in a relationship to create something that is Christ-like.
All right, but is there an issue with a woman? What's the issue? You said there is an issue in your articulation. What's the issue with a woman saying, "I am independent"?
Well, I think saying that I'm independent is kind of a quick rejection of of a relationship. It's kind of like saying starting out a relationship like saying I don't need you, and
But what if
that's
they
like,
don't need you?
well, then why would you do, then if you don't need a relationship, and if you don't need a person, then it's kind of like saying that, well, I don't need you, but I'll allow you to be here with me. And I don't think that's the right way to approach a relationship. I think you
What
approach a relationship with humility. The man approaches you with humility, the woman approaches with humility. We come to the relationship because we can complement each other.
Gotcha. So what's the right way of doing that then? Because like if you say I don't need you but I want you, I feel like that's romantic, but I'm an idiot. So, what's the right way? How are you? How can a woman be humble in her approach to a man?
I think coming to the table honestly and just having an open discussion, being honest about the things that she's looking for in a relationship, he basically puts his cards on the table as well, and they decide if they can complement each other because a relationship is give and take. It's about building something together.
Yeah, it is about building something together. But I think what I'm trying to get at is if a woman says I'm independent and I like being independent and I want to uh, connect my life with a man who is also independent, and then we create something together. I am. It feels like my ego is bruised. So don't say you're independent because you saying you're independent has a. I have an issue with the statement as opposed to the reality.
Well, I think that it's fine if two independent people come together if you're looking at it from that perspective, but I also think that it can also have a different meaning. So if you're just simply saying that, we're all independent individuals. I can take care of myself. I respect that you can take care of yourself, and we're coming together as two independent individuals to determine how we can complement one another's lives. That's perfectly fine. But if you basically come to a relationship and you say that I'm independent, I don't need you, and I'm allowing you to be a part of my life, that's putting you above the other person, and I don't think that's right.
Wait, again, sorry. How is I am independent puts you above anyone? Shouldn't
No,
you
no, no,
be
no, no, no,
independent?
no, 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 no. Look, don't misunderstand what I'm saying, please. I
Yeah.
said that if you come to a relationship and you say, I'm independent, you're independent, we're going to look at how we can complement each other, that's perfectly fine. But if you come to a relationship and say, I'm independent, plus I don't need you, but I will allow you to be a part of my life, I don't think that's the right way to approach a relationship.
I am independent and I want you to be a part of my life. You don't think that's the right way to approach a
You
relationship?
you you took out a critical piece. I don't need you.
Yes. Do you think she needs you? As a
Well,
man,
if
do you think women need you?
well, if a woman does not need a man, for example, if she does not need a man for anything, then what's the point of her even having a man in her life?
Does
It's
she
no
what is a need?
Well, I mean, it depends on the individual.
No, there's a definition for the word need, and it feels like need should be defined.
Okay, please go ahead and define it.
So need would be something that is essential, right? Um,
Mhm.
and need in this way is not just saying it's very important. It's saying without which I cannot survive,
Hmm.
right?
Survive? Well,
Yeah.
no.
All right.
I
So how are you defining need?
I think that in the context of how we were putting it, it's not so much about whether you need the person, but more so about does the person compliment you, and do they bring value? So if you're telling someone that they don't bring enough like you don't it's almost like saying that I don't value what you have to offer, but I will tolerate you. And I kind of feel like that's kind of how a lot of relationships are today. It's kind of like one side saying, I don't need you, but I will tolerate you in my life.
But can you find something important and useful and amazing and great but don't need it?
Absolutely.
So they can value what you bring, they can love what you bring, they can care, they can find it important and useful and great, and it makes their life better without quote needing it.
Well,
And that's go
I
ahead.
think we're actually on the same page. One thing I've actually said constantly in many of my streams is that as men, it's best to have a woman who wants us but doesn't need us to survive. Like, no, I don't think it's good to have a woman who's you're in a relationship with someone who, if you're not in their life, they cannot survive. So I absolutely value a woman who can take care of herself, can provide for herself. I value a woman who's intelligent. I respect a woman's ability to be articulate, and I completely understand the things that she's gone through to get to wherever she is in life. I'm just pointing out that I think that sometimes the approach can be a little off-putting with some relationships. Of course, not all, and I don't. I think that's the best way I can put it. But I think that we are on the same page. I think that the concept of independence and need is a little skewed in some ways. However, I think that we are more or less aligned in our definitions.
All right. Do you believe in 50-50 financial relationships
I
where the
believe
woman bring go ahead.
I believe in I believe in that being something that's discussed with. I don't think that's my business, and I don't think that's your business. To be being respectful,
No, no, no,
I
yeah,
think
no, 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 please. But if so you're not a traditional guy, like you're not preaching for traditional.
no,
Then
hell
why are
no.
you upset with not following the Bible? Because on one hand, it sounded like you were saying we need to follow the Bible and the relationship should be predicated on Christianity. And
No.
then you were like, oh, 50-50 is fine. You are not in the relationship. And it's like, but that seems to counter the idea that you should go follow the Bible and be traditional, but you're not traditional. So that's odd.
Well, I mean, none of us are entirely traditional
I'm
society.
not. I would own that. Not traditional at all.
Okay, so but you still believe in the Bible, right?
Yeah.
See what I'm saying right there? So we're not
Yeah,
exactly
but I
different.
am a contradiction in that I would own that I'm an a la carte Christian and I would be rejected generally by Christians because I believe that women and men are equal in some ways without being a feminist. I am not a feminist, but I don't think the Bible agrees. But when you say that the relationship should be based on the Bible, this seems out of line with the 50-50 thing.
I never said that the relationship should be based on the Bible. I just said that there are things in the Bible that I do believe are true, and that I believe society has deviated away too much from the family unit and the structure of the family. I am not trying to enforce biblical beliefs or biblical law upon society. I believe strongly in division of church and state, and and uh, and again, it's like I don't agree with everything, every single thing, and take everything too literal that comes in the Bible. For example, the Bible permits slavery, and and provides specific outlines of how slavery should work. That doesn't mean I support slavery. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, and we'll get back to the Bible. Do you believe so? The architect says if he would submit, would you submit to your wife?
Well, I believe that a wife should submit to her husband, and a husband should submit to his wife, as we both submit to Christ. But those are my personal beliefs, and again, it comes down to the individual. I cannot tell anyone how to live their lives, and I cannot tell anyone how to, have their relationship. I am not enforcing my views or beliefs on anyone.
Some sorry, I need to address someone. Um, Not feminist. Why not? This is important to those of subscribe who consider themselves feminists and support feminists. I am not a feminist, and if that actually makes someone feels bad, I can explain it. Not today, but some other time. But I'm not a feminist. I've explained that before, but I can do it again at some point if you all remind me. What does he think about husband wives without repercussions? He, how, I think that she meant hitting wives without repercussion during the height of the nuclear family. How does the nuclear family benefit women? Well, let's skip to the last part. How does the nuclear family benefit women?
I believe the nuclear family provides women with a foundation.
How does it benefit women? Sorry, I didn't hear you.
I believe that the nuclear family provides women with a foundation.
Without which they wouldn't have a foundation?
Well, here's the thing. We live in a society today where everyone needs to have their own thing. People. I need to have my own car. The woman needs to have her own car. I need to have my own house. The woman needs to have her own house. And I believe that when you share resources, it helps to create more stability for the individual.
So it helps women when they share resources.
It helps women when they share resources. I believe that it provides access to, the family unit is beneficial because we help each other in a family. So I believe that it does also provide value to a woman. Again, these are just my personal opinions. I'm not
No,
pushing
no,
my
that's fine.
viewpoint.
That's fine. But I don't understand the foundation bit because if it helps women to share in the financial burden, she could stay at home, she could room with her friends. I don't. How does the nuclear family benefit women?
The nuclear family, my views on the nuclear family is that the nuclear family benefits women and it benefits society because it helps to create community. And I believe that community is a
Yeah, no, no,
bedrock of
you're
society.
repeating that. The question is not does it, it's how does it? How does it benefit? How?
I said it provides a foundation for women.
What? So without the nuclear family, would women not have a foundation?
I think that it's much more difficult. There's a lot of women who are struggling financially right now. There's a lot of women who are, in the United States, they say that we're going through what they call an epidemic of loneliness. And I believe that a
You heard.
family,
So you have the research that says women are going through an epidemic of loneliness.
well, the United in general, we are going through an epidemic of loneliness. That's something that actually came from the Biden administration recently, that Americans are facing an epidemic of loneliness. So
They
women
had
being
very specific. Did you read this? Because I read. Well, did you read the what it said about the epidemic of loneliness that exists in the West? Well, globally, but in America specifically.
So they do often talk about men being heavily affected by loneliness,
Do
but
you
it
know
does.
why?
Well, and I've talked about this recently. It says that men don't have a lot of close male friends, fewer male friends in the United States than they have in previous generations. It also talks about men not opening up and being as emotional connected to their emotions and a variety of other issues. However, there are other articles that have also pointed out, which just comes from recent research, that the well-being of women in Western society has actually decreased for Gen Z and millennial women, and they are now living shorter lives than women born in 1928. So
Can you
that is
send me that? Because I didn't see the thing about shorter lives. But do you know how they are passing away?
do I know how they're passing away?
Yep.
Well, I would have to pull up the article for you and show and give that to you. But it does say that their well-being has decreased and they are living shorter lives now than women born in 1928.
Yeah, but this is where you have to segment race, where women are being unalived by men around them generally, illness and such, and men when it also we're killing each other. But the issue here is that it seems like you're conflating the loneliness epidemic, which everyone is lonely, but it's hitting men in a more severe way because men aren't able to uh, create the kinds of connections with people that they need to sort of alleviate the loneliness?
Hmm. Well, that's again, I won't go into further detail on that, but I respect your opinion.
Yeah, that's fine. So when it comes back to the nuclear family and foundation, I don't understand the foundation that you're saying that it sets for women without. So if we're saying being a nuclear family is good for women because it sets a foundation, it has to be that without this foundation, women would be in a much worse position. And so that's kind of what I want you to go through. So, what is this foundation, and why is it good and different from other kinds of foundation?
It comes down to, it's really each their own. If my belief is that that there should be a focus on the family, and within the family, it provides structure, it provides financial support, and it also provides people that care about you. So you have a family unit, you have other people around you that share in, that are receptive towards your emotional needs, that are receptive toward, that can help you financially, spiritually. I and Again, I'm not pushing my beliefs on anyone, and I completely
I
understand it.
mean, you are a content creator, though, and I'm not telling you you should nor you should. So, like, you don't have to create a sort of bubble around your ideas by saying that you are not um, trying to change anyone's mind. I think these people are smart enough, right, to decide what they want to do without you or I telling them what to do.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So we'll get back to the nuclear family and the foundation it sets for women in a minute. When one is accustomed to privilege, equality feels like oppression. Data has shown answer the answer. Get someone else to do it. Goldman Sachs 2024. Thank you. Let's read some more. Happy Friday, Barbs. How y'all feel? No, Tina Snow did destroyed us. Nope, not doing that either. Waddles. DJ, in other words, he prefers for her to not need him, but he doesn't want her to say it out loud. All right, let's deal with this. Is that the issue? Do you want her to need you?
uh, are you waiting for me to respond?
Yeah, do you want your person? You have already answered this, but do you want your person to need you?
Me personally, okay, so to be honest, I am a single individual. I am not interested in getting into a relationship with anyone. I enjoy being single. I
Period.
enjoy.
But would you want your person to need you?
That's a very difficult question to answer because I'm not looking for a relationship.
All right, but hypothetically, would you want your person to need you?
I couldn't answer a hypothetical question because I have nothing to pull from.
Should men want their person to need them?
I'm not able to answer that question. I can't answer for all men. I can't even answer
You
for
do know
myself.
you already answered this question, right?
I attempted to answer it, and I gave you the answer that I could best present. But
So
basically,
why
based
not? Why won't you do it again?
well, I told you what I said before, and I mean that's really it, and that'll have to stand for itself.
All right, but it seems like you said you didn't want women to need men and that you appreciated that they didn't actually need men. So it feels now like not wanting them to need you, but not say it feels like what DJ is saying here, with you don't want them to need you, but you would prefer them not say they don't need you.
I like a woman who can, you know, as a man personally, if I were to be in a relationship, I am fine with a woman who I'm fine providing for a woman, but I would not want to be with someone who cannot physically survive without me, if that makes any sense.
All right, so that's you're fine with it, but you if they don't need you, you don't mind them saying it, or do you mind them saying it?
I don't really care.
All right, so why would you start off with it then? It feels like this like independent women and boss babies destroying the community, the culture, America, Western world. Why start off with that if you don't care? Sorry, and this this is not an attack. It's just like I'm trying to piece together what I see as inconsistency. And everyone in the chat, please be respectful, please.
Yeah. To be fair, could you please repeat that one more time? Because I was glancing at your chat. Looks like there's a bit of fury in there, but go ahead.
Yeah, I mean the chat they are very hyper focused on sort of inconsistency. Why do you start off by talking about independence and boss babe and all of that when you are now saying I don't care, that doesn't matter to me, but that's what you started off with and that's what you attempted to attack. And I haven't forgot the nuclear family bit. We'll get back to that.
Well, here's the thing. If someone wants to be a boss babe, they can go ahead and do whatever they want to do. You asked them a question and I
Yeah,
gave
why
you
I don't understand. Like we know that. You know what I mean? Like like I don't understand why we qualify. Like I'm not giving advice. It's fine. If they want to, they can. They already know that. So like I don't understand that kind of qualification around like the speech. Like, do you see the inconsistency of attacking the boss babe and the independent women, but saying, "Oh, I don't care"? Those two things feel inconsistent.
that. So I'm being very honest with you. I don't really know how you want me to respond. I've explained myself as best I can, and you know, I'm just having a hard time understanding what exactly you're asking.
Initially, when you came on, I asked you what was the issues with the Western culture because you said you wanted men to go and find peace. And you said that one of the issues was that the boss babe culture and women saying they're independent and putting it on their bio and things like that. And you find that to be an issue. And you attacked that as an issue. And now, when I'm asking you about independent women and boss babe, you were saying it doesn't matter. You don't have an issue with it. Those two positions seem
Oh, that's very
inconsistent.
simple. Oh, I can resolve that very quickly. I said you asked me for an example, and I gave you that as an example, but I did not attack it. I just pointed out that I felt that when someone puts that in their bio, and what I'm independent, I'm a boss babe. It's kind of like saying that I don't. It's kind of like a quick rejection of the individual, like saying that I'm just tolerating you, and I feel like a lot of women in Western society today are just tolerating men, and that is something I will stick by it. I think that maybe society has changed and so much that maybe American women no longer have they no longer they have many more options, and I completely respect that, and again, I think it comes down to the individual people when it in relation to what it means to need or want or desire, and I'm not really saying anything specific like, a woman has to need a man or a woman doesn't have to, or I'm not saying that, if a woman wants to be a boss babe, she cannot be a boss babe. Or at the same time, I'm not saying that, being a boss, saying that you're a boss babe is a complete rejection of a relationship. I was just pointing out that I do feel that there are times when it can be perceived as though you're kind of rejecting or pushing back against relationships, even though it's like it's kind of like a push and pull type of thing. And of course, I'm not able to articulate it the way that I want to, but that's just how I view it. So that's the best way that I can explain it, and I apologize if I'm not able to uh, not able to explain it in a more coherent and way would uh, that would please you and your audience, but that's really what it is.
All right. So yeah, I don't the it wasn't reconciled for me, but we can move on to something else that was said where you said we might be in a culture where women don't need men and they're only tolerating men. Why do you think that? I think that's this his ego talking. What is his obsession with being needed? Crackhead needs it. No. Oh, hey, Finn, welcome. Appreciate you for being here. Was it today? I think I watched a video you uploaded on Patreon today. Can someone drop the link to the Patreon? But go ahead. What is it? You said there were when it comes to women in the Western world and in America that they seem to be only tolerating men. Can you dig into that some?
Hmm. Uh, I feel like women have made such amazing strides in in society, and I think that's such an amazing thing. I truly believe it is so amazing how far women have come, and I think that's something that we should all absolutely celebrate. But at the same time, I feel that a lot of women believe that men have not kept up with the same growth, and as a result, I feel that has become maybe more difficult for women to find someone that they are truly interested in as a result of all the amazing strides and progress that they have made.
And your solution is that for men, instead of them being better, to go somewhere else.
Well, not here's the thing. My solution is that, you know, we cannot please everyone. The average person in the United States makes only around maybe $50,000 to $56,000 a year, and I believe the standards for a lot of women today is that men need to make $500,000 a year and make $1 million a year.
I mean,
And
but you know that's not true, right? No, most men wouldn't have access to women. Like the average income is too low for women to want men to make 500,000 a year.
well, if you watch
That's not a true statement.
Well, if you watch a lot of videos online, if you watch channels like The Desirable Truth, you'll see a lot of street interviews where
Well, I don't watch those. I look at the stats. And the stats says that's not true. That women more and more are marrying down across the board. And women and men tend to marry people in the same socioeconomic and
Mhm.
educational level. So that can't be true.
Okay, so what is your point?
That women, it is not true that women want men to make $500,000, and that's the issue. That is not an issue because it's not true.
Okay, if you and I don't have the data in front of me, I'm sure you don't have the data in front of you, so we can agree to disagree.
No, I mean I can show you the data if you want. Here, it's called assortative dating. Have you heard the phrase before?
Hmm. I don't believe so.
Do you have a computer in front of you? I can read it for you, but do you have a computer?
Please go ahead and read it for me.
So assortative mating, this is from Science Direct, is the idea that people of the same background generally date and marry people who are similar or the same background. It's a mating pattern and form of sexual selection, and this happens in humankind.
Okay.
Wait. So if you're doing this, you can have you gone on the Pew Research? Have you gone to like Pew Research or um, well, I think Pew would be the best one for this. But if you want to specify racially, have you looked at where people are getting married? Like white women who go to university find their husband generally in universities, and they tend to be kind of the same or similar. Asian women tend to be more hypergamous, but generally also marry within their socioeconomic bracket. Um, have you done any work in this area? Like, have you looked at any stats around um, marriage, like at all?
I've definitely looked at different stats on marriage, especially, I do know that marriage rates have been declining for the
Mhm.
last several decades. In the most recent years, I do know that marriage rates actually did stabilize a bit during the events of 2020. However, they've begun to shift again in after those events.
So, where did you get that women like, where was the research regarding women and, wanting men who make, 100,000 $500,000?
Well, to be very honest, like I said, there are different kinds of data. There's quantitative, there's qualitative, and I look at a lot of the things that people say. So I do look at a lot of videos online, and I do listen to a lot of different things that women are saying in interviews. And a lot of women do say that they would like to be in a relationship with a person who makes more of them, because women typically marry up. However, I understand your perspective. You're saying that women tend to marry men who make the same amount of money as them. That's what it sounds like. But
It's the
again,
same or a little bit more. The same or a little bit more. My question isn't that. It feels like you're taking, like, what's her name, Sweetie and, City Girls approach to dating and applying it more generally than it can be applied. And so my perspective here is I'm trying to figure out where you're getting your numbers from. I'm about to show, I'm pulling up, by the way, the data on marriages. I'm trying to not stick to black marriages. I'm trying to be more general. Um, but I'm trying to understand where you're getting marriage data and, socioeconomic standing.
okay, so I mean, we can actually look at, you can look at Pew Research. You can look at a variety of different sources to look at how marriage rates have changed in the last several decades, and you can analyze that information and then draw your own conclusion. I do have to leave. I do have to leave in a little bit, though.
Gotcha. I am looking at the Pew Research, and while marriage has declined
Mhm.
generally, at what point, why would we look at the marriage trend to figure out, why would we look at the trend in marriage to figure out how much money the woman is willing to get from a man, or how much money the man should make? Like, I'm trying to figure out where you got, any number from regarding marriage.
Where I'm getting my numbers regarding marriage.
Hmm. You said there are qualitative and quantitative,
Mm.
research. Agreed. Nothing to agree with. That's just the truth. And so I'm trying to figure out where you got
Well, to be very
either qualitative or quantitative.
well, to be very honest with you, I mean, I did not know you'd be asking for this information
I,
prior to this. I did not know you'd be asking for this information prior to the stream. If I had known, I would have obtained my sources so that I could
I'll
provide
send
them to
you
you. And
here. No, no,
that is something that I can definitely get back to you later
no,
on.
no,
I
no,
can
no,
definitely
no.
research the
This is
information
not a got
and send
you.
it over to you later.
No, no, no. 1 second. This is not a got you. I'm sending you the statistical data on economics and marriage. It's in the back chat. I won't even put it on the screen. I just sent it to you. Women, Men, and the Economics of Marriage. I just sent it to you. That's the title in the Pew Research Center. I am not attempting to do a got you, and apo- I just, when you said we can agree to disagree when I gave you data, that's why I was confused. Because if I'm telling you that this is the stat that people
Mhm.
tend to date and marry people around the same socioeconomic level, women might go a little bit higher, but it's generally the same. I just don't understand why you would then say we should agree to disagree. Um, because that must mean you have data somewhere else. And so this is not an agree to disagree kind of thing. It's, do you have the data or do I? And whoever has better data, kind of, we go with that one. Not even, the conversation doesn't even end. We just go with that one and have that discussion. 1 second. People in the chat saying I shouldn't apologize and I should drag. I'm trying to do these once a month with men because like we don't get to talk to men on this channel a lot. And so I don't want people to feel like I will ever be dragging them in any way. I actually want to know how people think and why they get to the conclusion that they get to, because it's so different from my conclusion. But it's not like, hopefully not an animosity or whatever. But yeah, you can respond and then yeah.
Huh. Yeah, so in terms of the data, I mean, here's the thing. This is your data. I did not have time to prepare data. So, to say that I'm going to go by your data and just accept your data because
No,
it's the available
when
data.
I say accept, you can accept arguendo and then come later with better data. But and we don't even have to do it. But like the idea that you watch, I'm showing you the Pew research, and you were telling me that you watch some people do street interviews. You know what I mean? Like they're not the same level.
No, I completely understand exactly what you're saying, but and I respect that, but there's also other data out there. I did not have time to prepare that data beforehand, as I did not know that I would be asked to present it or to review your data and to
Yeah,
counter
no,
it
that's fine. I
with other
apologize.
data.
And when in truth, I never asked him about that. I never said this. My thing is, if you're talking about what women should do or men should do or what you want to do, and you're talking about dating and mating within the context of a relationship in the Western world, I would assume that the idea that you believe that women want these very wealthy men, that you would investigate. And if you haven't, I will tell you this. Please investigate that idea, because what you will find in reality, that average people date and marry average people. It is what it is. An average in terms of whatever you want to say, looks, education, finances.
Okay, well, I absolutely respect that, and that's something that I'll definitely look further into. I respect your
Yeah.
views, I respect your ideologies, and I respect your opinion, and I'll definitely look more into that information. Okay, I want to really thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. I thank you so much for allowing me to come onto your stream to talk with you today to express my viewpoints. Thank you very much for being polite and respectful to me, and I'd like you to have a lovely day. Thank you so much again.
You too. Have a good one. Bye.
Thank you. Y'all, why does he like to abandon me when I come up here? I don't know.
Sorry, I needed a moment.
Needed to breathe.
Um,
That's okay.
I didn't know this was like going to be limited in this time. There's a um I don't understand the avatar. I don't understand the whiteness. I don't understand why we use like I don't understand any of it. What purpose does a man serve to a woman if he's not a provider? Especially considering men are one of the main causes of women's unhappiness. Okay, so what people so the way I ask question is, I go in very good faith. I ask a bunch of questions that are just random questions. And then I start, after I've heard everything and I have an idea. Oh my God, I'm sweating. It's so hot. After I get an idea of like where people are and what they believe and what they said, then I start investigating the idea. So the first 30 to an hour generally is me just hearing you out. The next hour is me investigating your idea. And so when people are like upset that why are you letting people talk? Why are you letting him meander? Why are you letting him this? Why are you letting him that? I do that because I need to understand. Like, I'm not going to presume that I know what this man is thinking. And I think that is important. But yes, Sin, this is a question I had later. I wanted to go back to the nuclear family so bad. Um, I love the idea of the nuclear family being brought up in the context of a Christianity, and then we think about 50-50 and provider. I like investigating that. And so that's what I wanted to do. So, yes, and I was going to do it. Hey, Petty, what say you before we continue?
I was told there was a men's panel.
You're too late. The men's panel is over. He left. He wanted the support. If the panel is open, I wouldn't mind coming up, but I don't know what exactly we'd be talking about, or if the chat wants that. I'll no. I'll open the panel to men in a minute because that's what Wake Up said. So we'll open it to the men here. Men don't want to be needed. It's too much pressure for them, which is why he have poor man's divorce. It's a facade, cosplay at best. Yeah, I think DJ said it right, where people don't want to be needed, but they don't want to be told they're not needed. Which, I mean, in truth, I
Right.
can understand that, but it's like, girl, we really have to do that discussion on men being the lonely ones who die alone, Themis, because then the man just keeps saying, right, we'll do it. I really wanted to do it with you. We'll do it. I'm waiting for you to return, and so we can talk. Because I think I messaged you about like a convo, but please reach out. Um, no, I didn't. You're waiting on me, I think. Never mind. Never mind. You're waiting on me. So everyone needs to have their own things and share. Period. All right, let me read some more and then we can get into the discussion. So you want women to be broke and homeless, no foundation, but I bet you hate gold diggers. Make it make. These are so good.
Yeah, the foundation thing was unusual because when I was the data you were talking about in him regarding male and female loneliness and how it differs and which one's more severe and who it affects, it was unusual what he was saying about foundation because it feels like the data supports the idea that women without, I guess, what he calls the foundation of Christian marriage are seemingly doing well, and looking at the research that I've seen tend to be doing better than they are in relationships, particularly for loneliness. It seems like they have more friendships and more of a support system with each other than men do with each other. So it felt unusual. If anyone doesn't have a foundation, I feel like it would be men.
Yeah,
So I could understand why men would want marriage as a foundation for them, because there is research also that shows that how do men make friends later in their life? It tends to be through their wife, and it tends to
yeah.
be their wife who keeps them social. So I would understand how it benefits men to get married, and I would understand him as a channel who talks to men, why he might promote marriage for men. But I still, I guess, don't understand the benefit for women, at least compared to like being single and just having friend groups or roommates or something.
I mean, I kept trying to ask. He has. I don't know if he's been in a relationship. I kept trying to ask what he meant by this, the foundation bit, but foundation applies like this interview. But someone kept saying Fenty Foundation. Like I tried to not look in the chat because I didn't want to laugh. Does he support LeBron giving back to?
Yeah, I think it's important we support the LGBTQ. I know he was saying some stuff about going overseas, but too
Mhm.
often men don't look at each other and how they can find, you know,
I worry. By the way, this is for men, only for men. We'll just continue with the men's panel from this chat. But um, I worry that like a lot of people aren't really thinking about the position that they have. I have like some stuff that I need to get through to separately from this, like for the live
oh,
stream.
do you know what's interesting? And I'm probably gonna. I think I want to cover this tomorrow or Sunday. I watched Keita Rose do a podcast. Apparently, she has yesterday, and she was talking with some men and women, and one of the men was like, "Blah blah 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 blah." They was talking about nothing. I just love stuff like that. And one of them was like, they were talking about what's the issue in the black community, and he was like, we as men need to start doing what we supposed to do as men. And I realized, when this man came up and said foundation, I realized a lot of people say stuff, but when you ask them, okay, what does that mean, it feels like there was a point where I think you asked him a question very early into it, um after he was like, Western society's bad and this is why, and you're like, oh, okay, well, tell me a little bit more about that. And he was like, hold up, give me a couple of seconds to think. I don't remember what it was, but I remember him saying that. Let me think about that for a second. And I
Yeah,
feel like that's unusual because I don't know him personally, but if he has a channel where he's peddling something to people in mass, right? I feel like, right, the moment to think is like before that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't want to say
Yeah.
that because it sounds rude, but like that feels unusual. Like, oh, I don't have any data I can look at. Like you have a channel where you recommend things to men and I guess use street interviews as data, and you haven't looked into any, like, just one study that you can recall, just one, like one. I can think of what's that study I always talk about? A little more ghetto, a little less cultured. I bring that up all the time because I've read it. I'm very intimate with the data in that study. I've gone through the conclusion. I've read through their method of collecting data. I've read through the actual data that they have on a separate sheet. Like I've read through it and understand it intimately before I use it on my stream. And I have like a really small audience. So it feels unusual for someone not even to remember the name of any study or like even men bring up the CDC study on black men
Yeah.
in poverty,
Yeah.
like, and they don't read it, which I don't think they do based on how they cite it, but
They
they
don't
bring
gotta
it up.
read.
So that was shocking to me.
Um, the truth. Women are mainly tolerating men before. Now we just leave. I was so fascinated by that too. I was so fascinated by the tolerating bit because I don't think it's like completely off. Can he explain to us what he believes women need for men without mentioning protection from men? Oh, that was also important. Hey, Katie, how are you? Can you hear? Can you speak?
Who's that? Will Smith and Jada in the back.
I will drop down to the
Doing good.
background. Everybody,
Uh, See you in a
we can
minute.
hear you.
Wake up.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Behave, chats. We're going to be respectful.
I mean, we have to be. These are these are our community members. Um, so, can you speak, Katie? Katie, I don't know if I can hear your mic.
Can you hear me? Is it good?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All
Clear?
right, good. Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Obi, so people are mad at you because they said you were turning down that you were turning down donations. Obi,
Did you say people are mad at me, Seamus?
yep, because you were turning down donations. All right. All right.
Hey,
What's the
Seamus.
you? Hello. All right. Well, we'll go to Katie. What say you? What did you make of the conversation so far? And do you have something to add?
I definitely thought it was very not productive. Um, but I think there was an interesting point that he made that I feel like he I guess because of where he stands, he couldn't actually explain it. But when he talked about viewing relationships and dating as a competition, I sort of agree in that sense, but not how he was sort of framing it, but more in the way of how men actually view dating in a competition sense, that because of the idea that a man gets taken advantage of, or he's a simp, all that type of stuff in these discussions, it sort of sets it up to where the man gives what he's supposed to give to a woman, and he's not receiving what they would think is a fair exchange for that. It shows to them men are being dominated or losing in the relationship. I think that also feeds into why men aren't as vulnerable, because now that in a competition sense, you're giving the enemy something they could use against you. And when you view relationships as a competition, that you avoid the what you can gain from viewing it as a cooperative, that a relationship is a partnership that people can grow together, as opposed to you can't get one over me, and that's how I'm going to approach all of this. So that's I did find that point interesting, but he was sort of saying in the sense that it's a competition between men and women, whereas I think men are the ones that view it as a competition because they don't want to be dominated in relationships.
Yeah, well, I think I actually agree with you, but before let me show you all something. So this video is going viral, and I want to get you and Petty's response.
They don't want to see us working together.
Ready?
Yep.
They don't want to see us working together. You gotta see this one.
All right. So if you didn't see what happened, they're at a restaurant. It's probably a skit. But the guy who is reviewing it said they don't want to see us working together. And the working together was that the lady was passing him money under the table for him to pretend like he has the money to pay for the dinner. Petty, what do you think about this? And let's discuss, because I know you're the 50-50 king.
You already know I hate that. You already know I can't stand that. I can't stand it when stuff like this happens. So since we're using videos as data, apparently.
Why are you far away from the mic thinking you're going to talk?
Oh, hold up. Let me see. Testing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, you already know how I feel about that. You know, I don't use videos for data, but since the young man was up here today, in the spirit of him, let's really analyze that and treat it as data. So we have the conversation that you just had regarding independent women, for example. And, you know, I love, I guess Themis's internet is just interneting. But, you know, I love independent women. Love them. Love that independent women are making strides. Love you, independent women queens. But I can't stand it when they say they're independent. And, you know, if they just, I don't want them to need me, but do you have to say that you're independent and you don't need me out loud? I feel that echoed in this video. What I feel is people are upset that tradition has gone away and they don't want to openly say, I want to return to tradition and I don't want women to work because that's they don't want to say that out loud. So they'll sort of just signal it without saying that phrase actually. But yeah, that video I think perfectly shows what the young man earlier was talking about. You can be independent, but I don't want you to say it. I still want to feel and look like I'm needed, even though we both know that's not true. So it feels like men are upset that traditional masculinity is going away. And instead of adapting to that and becoming better in other ways, hey, let's pretend we're still doing that. We're not. I'm 50-50. The 50-50, you remember the Jesus Christ who told you to go 50-50 on the bills with men? Remember that Jesus Christ? You might not remember him, but that's you're a Christian. I'm not a Christian. I just am a Christian, you know. It's a difference. So you remember that Jesus Christ? Anyway, all I'm trying to say is men want to pretend like it's still the 50s, even though they don't have the means to do that. And they want women to go along with that, and they feel insulted when women don't do that. Not when women actually insult them, but just women saying I'm independent feels grating to them and insulting to them in the I guess.
Yeah, why is that? Let's do that, because I actually have so many more questions on this video. But like, I agree with, I know you were joking in the beginning, but I actually agree with you in the end. Miss Audia, thank you so much. Wake Up Makeup Slave serves us looks every single time. Yeah, no, I appreciate her. So it does seem like they're concerned with the optics more than like the substance, right?
Oh, I want to quickly say, as opposed to like hiding it, they can also go to countries where they can be poor but still provide, since it's a poor country.
Yeah, all right. So they can still look like they have it. I mean, I guess they would have it in other countries. Here, they would look like they have it when they're passing the money under the table, as opposed to the woman just paying for it. Um, do you see a problem with this, by the way, KD? And how do you think through what's happening? And you don't have to agree with us, by the way.
Oh no, I see a problem with it. It's definitely coddling a man's ego in this sense, and it's just another form of capitulating to a man's need to be that breadwinner, even if he actually can't be that way. And yeah, there's not much I can really add to it. You guys both said it all.
The nuclear family is the smallest possible foundation to have. Strata households have been multi-generational. One woman and one man with no other household help is deeply unnatural and only works under a hyper-specific condition. Adrian, this is so true. We didn't even actually get into the nuclear family discussion because I really wanted. Someone even sent the comment that I was thinking about how recent the nuclear family is. And I think a lot of people don't actually know how recent it is because we did a great job in Western media to market the nuclear family as if that has been historically how people survived and thrived. So, yeah, Adrian, I appreciate that. Thank you. One more before we continue. I just rewatched the last bit of that interview, and I think he saw Sin's name on a super chat. Got scared, lol. Yeah, I think Cat, yeah, I think that's what happened. I don't think he had anything to do. I think he just ran off. But cuddling, not allowing a person to be responsible. Yeah. All right. Petty, did you see anything wrong with the video we just showed where the woman is giving the man money? Do you think there's something generally wrong with this? And I'll remind you that you're a 50-50 king.
You said me?
Mm-hmm. Did you see anything wrong with like a woman? A woman and a man go out on a date, and the woman gives him money. Generally, like let's not be specific on this video. Just generally, gives him money to pay for the food.
That doesn't sound like 50-50. That doesn't sound like tradition. That sounds like one person don't have anything and the other person is pretending that. I've never seen this actually, because traditionally, I guess the woman wouldn't have finances, but the man would. And then more recently with 50-50, they would be going 50-50. But I've never seen the woman have money, the man not have money, but the woman pretends that the man has the money and that she's not providing when she like. This has to be. Well, I know it's not a new phenomenon in the Black community, but like just seeing it recorded now and with social media, so it's all in your face all the time, is very jarring. I'll say that. So no, I don't think this is good generally. I think you should just probably not go to dinner if you can't afford it.
What if you can't afford it by yourself, but together you both can afford it? So she'll give you half. Is there a problem with her giving you half the money?
I say probably still go to things that you can afford. I mean, I guess people do that with like houses, but dinner, that feels like a struggle. The housing, I understand.
Are you saying people who are struggling financially can't date?
I literally just watched a stream about struggle love this morning from Keita Rose. So I'm in a certain mindset right now where I'm like, I don't know about this struggle stuff I've been seeing. I don't know.
But you see how elitist that is if you're saying that people who are struggling financially should not date.
Yeah, I understand why it seems elitist. So, I mean, who am I? Go out there and have children, date, just live life. Who am I to stop you? I'm not giving anybody general advice. You know, I would never do that.
All right.
I wouldn't do it myself.
Obi, what say you? We'll get into this in a minute.
Hey, Themis. I was disconnected for a little bit. I'm in someone else's house, and I don't think his internet is really good. Can you hear me?
Do you have something? Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Yeah. So I didn't watch the last video that you played, but I can hear you said something about a woman handing a man money to pay for dinner. I've seen videos like that, and I think it's just the general ego of men pretending to be the provider while they're not, and the women trying to protect their egos and handing them. I think it's I think it's silly.
All right. So the title of this stream is that women should choose better. Um, this obviously wasn't meant for y'all. Um, but what does that mean, Petty? How do women choose better?
I'd say probably after that date, just don't talk to them anymore. I think that would be the first step. Um, I would say dating someone within your financial bracket or above, same education range or above. Um, that's probably my main two. Outside of that, values. I mean, there are evil things that people do, like kill, steal, and destroy, right? But those are easy things. So, yeah.
All right. The joking aside, when it comes to the education in the Black community, how do we get Black men to go to school? Anyone? Katie, Obi, should we be trying to get Black men to go to school, and how do we do that?
Yes, we should absolutely be trying to get Black men to go to school.
How?
It's I think men should be encouraging the younger men to go to school to get college education. That is one of the focal points of the program running, catching young men while they're still teenagers in high school on their way to college. The boys that we've been working with, most of them had the opinion of that college was not necessary and things like that. But one of the requirements of being out in our program is that you're heading to college. So we're preparing them for path to college. College is not like it's a non-negotiable. If you're going to be part of the group that we are running, you're on your path to or you're on your path to college. And I think if men like me and other men that have gone to college reach out to younger men and encourage them to go to college to go into like programs that are profitable and are going to be future proofed or whatever, and things that are meaningful to society that will make them enough money to be able to take care of their families. That is what I'm doing. I'm helping the young men that are under me right now to go into tech and to go into like meaningful jobs, to go into science, medicine, law, whatever they want to do that is within their interests, to pursue college. College is one of the primary requirements of being part of the group that I'm trying to run. And I heard you saying something about some people being mad at me not taking donations, and that's fine. If I don't care what people really say about me. The My name and my reputation is very important to me. And we have a young, small group of boys right now. And between us, the guys that I'm running things with, we're able to take care of what we're taking. I don't want to be Dr. Umar, to take money from people and people are asking where the money's at. We're able to take care of it right now as we expand and plan things out and create
So
structure.
I'm getting comments from the Discord. They said, I am mad at Obi because he should have taken the donation because it wasn't money. That man asked him what
I
he
don't really know
needed.
what to do with like the stuff they get. I don't the kids that I'm working with right now, they don't necessarily need clothes. I think their moms are doing okay for them. What they needed was guidance and people that will instruct them in character and like helping them with their schoolwork and behaving properly and things like that. That is what we're like people how to face their education, how to not get themselves into gangs or crime or things like that. That is what we're doing. That is what we're promoting, and we're taking care of them. And we usually do like a 3, 4 month program. And I'm not doing that right now. We're getting ready for the next summer to take care of those people. So I really don't know what to do with like money or like things that we are giving to the kids. We've already provided the things they need for the curriculum. We have a space where we train them, we give them the materials that they're going to need, and the other things that they need during the program we buy for them.
Gotcha. So there is nothing you need, and so his offering of anticipating what's happening in the Discord, his and because I think people have are taken aback because it seems like it was just a carte blanche. like it felt like it was a blank check, not money necessarily given, saying how use me however you can and I'll find a way to help. And it was sort of declined. And
I
I am
apologize. I apologize if that was like kind of like I don't want anything. That's not the what how I was trying to put out for across. I just don't know what I need at the moment because what we need already we have. We are planning for 2024 to expand it to a larger group of kids so we can find a system that can be replicated across the country. This is very young. This is 2 years in the running, 2 summers in the running, and we don't have our structure together. We just have like 20 kids or whatever that we're managing right now. And like, I don't want to accept things that I don't know what to do with. I appreciate the people that want to help. I really, really appreciate it. When I need help and when we do, like, I will do something about like receiving help, but at this moment I don't know what to do with what it that is. Somebody actually suggested that we should talk so they can link me with people so we can get more men on board. That I appreciate. I would like to get more men that went to college that have their lives together on board to help to mentor more of these kids, because right now where I have 4 kids under me.
So I am a bit confused because I was gonna end it there and be like, okay, got it. Obi is just doing Obi's thing and whatever. But now I am personal. This is from me.
Uh-huh.
Because even if you don't know what you want, you would like. So okay, let me step back because I don't want to overstep right now. But if I am having a group of boys and I'm trying to help them, and I am not willing to take anything yet because I don't know what I need necessarily, for me, that wouldn't be a no. It would be let me go check with the team, let me go figure out what I need and like where you can come in. And then I would go and do the request. I wouldn't shut down help. And it felt like you shut down help to the point where I didn't do anything. It felt like you shut down help and I stepped in and I said, let me go figure it out. And the reason I stepped in that way is because I don't want the offer to be removed from the table.
Obi said you could take that offer. He don't need it. What he needs is boots on the ground. Well, he needs men out there. Themis, y'all are trying to do what a lot of men try to do. Here's some money. Here's some clothes. I get money and clothes for the child. What more do you want? He just told you what he wants. He wants boots on the ground. He needs somebody to get out here and help tutor these kids. And a wallet is not going to do that. These kids have a shirt on. It has a few holes in it. Who cares? It's not too cold outside. I don't know what part of the country y'all live in. I'm up north. But he needs boots on the ground. I completely understand. Because the research say money and a father in the home and this stuff don't help. It says men in the community help.
Gotcha.
So ask those men to offer their volunteer services on the weekend instead of writing a check.
And if they can't volunteer, then we just not doing it at all.
Yeah, I know some women like that. If you're not going to be in this child's life, I don't want it.
If you're not going to be in this child life, I don't want child support.
I know some women like that. You might disagree with it, but I know some women like that.
Yeah, period. I don't know anyone like that, but period. It's all or nothing. Take me, take all of me or nothing at all.
Some
It's
of them
all or nothing at all.
They don't even want the trouble.
All right. Well, since we all agree on here, I think generally, let's move. Y'all can help me break this down, both of you. We have. Oh, hey, Obi. Since we all generally agree, let's go to this video and we can break it down together. Pause. Just tell me when to pause. If you hear something that you want to talk about. Talking about scammers. Let's watch. Sorry, that was my opinion. No one on here said that, just me. All right. I did a video and we already broke down part of this. Let's try to review the rest. At any point, we're just chilling, talking now. Just stop me if you hear anything. I'll stop when I hear anything, and we'll discuss it. All right? Cool. We can do this for like an hour. So We can chill for an hour. This is the men's panel tonight.
Who had a loving relationship with a biological father, and the women you dated who did not know their father, I'm quite certain you can tell some differences between them. Trust, anger, vulnerability, confidence, completely different man and woman. So you need intimacy, that love. Second thing you need, and these are in no order, availability. Was mom present in your life? Was dad present in your life? Was they at the football game? Was they at the basketball game? Did they come to the birthday parties, or were they absent? Did you have parents who abandoned you? So you got intimacy, you got availability, then you also have reciprocity. Did mom and dad do for you, or did you have nothing at all? When your shoes got holes in them, did they get you another pair? You understand that? When you were still hungry at dinner, could you get another plate? Or did you live in an environment of scarcity? So you got intimacy, you have reciprocity, you have availability, and the fourth one was trust. Could you trust your father when he gave you his word? Could you trust your mother when she gave you? If your mother dropped you off at grandmom's and said, baby, I'm going to the mall. It's 12 noon. I'm going to be back at 8. But you didn't see her for 8 days later. See that?
Yeah.
Any trauma we got from our parents, especially the opposite sex parent, we carry over into our dating relationships. This is why nobody should be marrying anyone if you didn't meet their parents, because you got to know who made them, because you're going to begin to see into their trauma just by being around mom and dad for a couple hours, which is another reason why I don't think people should get married before they live together. Now, I know the church and the marriage. Yes.
All right. Do you guys agree with this? People should not get married until they live together. Who agrees with that? I strongly disagree with that. The research here says the likelihood of you being a single mother tremendously increases when you move in without marriage. I mean, even after marriage, you're going to be.
You're muted.
Can't hear anything.
Was I muted this entire time while I was talking?
It's also a little close to the mic. Might benefit to back up.
Do you all agree that it's better to move in?
No.
Does anyone agree that you should move in first? Why? The research here shows that the likelihood of you getting pregnant increases when you move in with someone, marriage or no marriage. So when you move in, the likelihood that you will have a child increases. Someone said wrong mic. Ew. All right.
Okay.
They're going to be pissed off at you for
Yes.
that one. Yeah. But I have limits. Go back to what I said earlier. The reason why you got to live with someone, my maximum, and I tell women this, I'll say it here now, 2 years. If a woman been living under the same roof with a man consecutively for 2 years, he knows if he gonna wife her.
Facts.
First of all, we men, after about 6 months, you got a pretty good idea whether this is, you understand?
Absolutely.
After a year, you pretty certain, but you might drag it out just in case she got some skeletons that need to pop out.
Just in case. Just in
Right?
case. Right.
Right. But after 2 years, a man knows. So when I talk to women who say, yeah, I've been living with my baby daddy for 5 years, he said he's still not sure. He's sure. He just don't want to tell you because don't want to let you go free because he know how good of a woman you are and he don't want nobody else to experience that. A man knows 2 years is my limit. But the reason you got to live together is what I said earlier. We know how to be the best actor Hollywood ever created when we don't have to share space. If all I'm doing is pick you up, going to dinner, going
Is
to
this the right mic? Can you guys hear me well, Petty? KD?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah.
All right, so this is the right mic, right?
Yeah, it's just a little loud.
All right, good. The research indicates that when a person, a woman in this case, moves in with a man prior to marriage, the likelihood of being impregnated tremendously increases. The idea that you're going to move into someone's home to test ride being a wife before being married is a very weird thing. Now, the caveat here is I don't believe marriage fixes the general problems. But we'll continue. Again, please stop me. This is like a conversation. You guys can jump in whenever. You're all gotta have it together before you start accepting money. Requires financial reporting and other legal requirements. Seems like Obi is just trying to set up the foundation right. Let him cook. Maya, yeah, my thing was not about necessarily whether or not he was accepting money or not, because money is weird. But when there are donations, there's way I would assume you track that. Anyway, it's the need to do a spy exchange under the table for appearance. If she's paying, just pay. This is just insecurity and failed masquerade of masculinity. Agree. Completely agree, Mickey.
Hawks game, going to the Falcons game, going to vacation to Bermuda. We have a pleasure contract. We about to turn this into an official relationship. Well, guess what? I got things about me I don't really want you to know. But guess what? Now you live with her. You under the same roof. Now, mind you, y'all been dating for 5 years. It's been great. You live with her for 1 week. Guess what you found out in 1 week? You found out she don't like to wash her ass. This is real.
Right.
This is real. She finds out you don't like to put the toilet seat down. You find out she can't cook. She find out you got 2 other cell phones and both of your baby mamas call you all through the night and talk about their personal problems with their new boyfriends. She would have never knew that if y'all never cohabitated. She not paying bills on time. You not taking out the trash. You not spending no time with her kids. Now, when you were just picking them up for dinner, you was okay with little Raekwon, right? Now Raekwon in your house, you don't want shit to do with him now. You see this?
Yeah.
You got to live with people. You got to live with people because you never fully know someone until they drop their guard. In the 3 conditions that normally force the ego to stop lying and tuck away the actor we like to project: pregnancy, marriage, cohabitation.
Yeah.
I recommend you cohabitate first before the pregnancy and the marriage so you can really know who this person is. You don't know him if you ain't lived with him, but ladies, it should be a 2-year limit.
I would say this,
That's
man.
gang for the ladies.
I used to always say this. I say the people that work with you, I used to say the people that live with you, that work with you, because you get to see a different side of them. They work ethics, their habits, their patterns.
So I just I feel like this is the issue with the pseudo intellectualism of Dr. Umar, with presenting things based off of vibes and some sort of intuition. To say that someone has to live with their partner in order to know them, as if you can't develop a sense of intimacy in your own separate domain to know and trust somebody, I think is utterly ridiculous. And that's all I need to say. That it doesn't make sense to me. You don't have to live with somebody to intimately know that they don't clean themselves, or that they can't cook, or that their child is all of that. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. I fully agree with that. Like, even the idea that you're gonna live in and be a practice wife is kind of ridiculous, because like, what's the phrase? Why buy a cow when you can have the milk? Why buy the milk or something? I don't know, girl. But it is odd that like people are in these situationships for years and years and years. Someone said my mic.
I think it might be my mic. I'm my headphones, and they're usually muffled on StreamYard.
I wanted to quickly ask. I just turned on the auto mic adjust for you so that it could lower it a little bit.
Me?
Yeah, I think it sounds better, fine now.
All right.
But I did want to ask, because Katie, I did used to agree with you regarding, and I guess everyone here, regarding not moving in before you marry, or not cohabitating before you marry. But the research that you were referring to, Themis, do you know what year that was from by chance?
Ask your question again, buddy. Sorry.
The research that you mentioned regarding cohabitating and how this might lead to more pregnancy or more divorce and stuff like that. Do you recall by chance what, I guess, year or kind of what range of years that was from?
It was in the 20 teens.
Yes. So that was, I think that's the study I was going off of too, but some new compelling research has come out from streetinterviews.org. They actually go on the street and interview real people in Miami and Atlanta and other areas that are indicative of everyday American life. And I think it's more qualitative than quantitative. So, we can agree. We can agree to disagree. I won't bring it up again.
The idea that you can live together can reduce the likelihood that you separate later. that there are things about people that you find out later can be, before you get married, is useful.
But
The
I would argue
idea,
that would be more. Oh, I'm sorry.
no, go ahead. No, no.
I would argue that the heart of separation is more economical than relationship. Like most
Yeah.
people, when they do end up living together, it's because they can only afford to live together, and so it's sort of, you're still kind of trapped in that, financially speaking, not if the relationship is actually good or not.
Yeah.
Can I say
No.
something?
Yeah.
These days, I would only suggest that a woman moves in with a man after an engagement that is not like that the marriage date is not longer than a year away or 18 months away. Um, but if you're not I used to believe like you can move in with someone, live as long as you want, and get married. I did that at some point. Yes, it does reveal some things when you live with someone a week or 2 weeks, a month, or a few months. You can get to learn how they behave. But I think there are other ways of learning people's habits and things without moving in with them permanently, because the stats are right. People that, I think I looked at it about a few months ago, people that cohabit have create a lot more problems, and they don't last as long as the people that actually got together when they got married.
Yeah, and I feel like it's weird to like use finances, because if you broke, let me leave that alone. Lots of married men belong to the basement.
Not just if you broke, leave it alone, but wasn't there some research? I mean, citation needed, so take this with a grain of salt. I can't remember it at the moment, but wasn't there some research that shows one of the main reasons why men and women don't break up is because they're cohabitating and find a financial benefit in it, even if the relationship is like terrible or not otherwise working out? It feels like moving in with someone prior to marriage might seem like, oh, this is good because I'm gonna get to know them or something, but makes things like financially difficult to separate from. Like
I
I've heard,
mean, if you're insecure and you want to lock someone in, just get someone who cannot completely live on their own. Move them in. Y'all share the bill, so you know they can never leave because they would need the money to leave. Sorry, please ignore that. Live together after a ring. That's it. And down payment. Period. Let's continue. Please ignore what I just said completely.
In a different way as far as they grind, especially a man. But in general, man, I must say, man, I failed at it. I failed at living with a woman, and it could be mainly because I did find these things out. But the reality of it is too, it can be very confusing when you start shacking up with somebody. It's a lot of confusion involved with that.
It is, but here's my question for you though. Were you ready to compromise your personal lifestyle and the agenda you had for yourself? Because remember, relationship means compromise. If you're not ready to give up or give in on anything that's important in your life, you ain't ready for a relationship. You still need a pleasure contract, because you're not ready to be accountable and you're not ready to take on responsibility for that other person. You see that?
Yeah.
So a lot of the confusion stems around the fact that you like her, but you're not ready to compromise the life I live. I'm not ready to only watch one game on Sunday with the homies when I'm normally there from 12 to 12. You see that?
Yeah.
I'm not ready to put in the type of time with her children that are not mine that I spend with my own. You see that?
Yes.
I'm not ready to start being responsible for how I spend my money. I normally do it how I want, and she wants us to have a budget. I ain't never done no damn budget. You see, are you ready to compromise? Because two egos that are not ready to compromise can't have a relationship. That's a situationship or a pleasure contract. And again, that's all right if that's where you are. But the minute you say relationship, that means you got to give up in order to get in.
Let me ask you this. I want to take the conversation in a bit of a different direction. And we got all five of them.
Yes, sir.
We got them all. Y'all better be taking some damn notes because Dr. Umar is in the building.
I need that
and he's laying
transcription
it.
too.
Yeah, we got to.
And you know that really dropped about two books.
Let me give you one point before you turn it there.
Yeah.
We need that intimacy, that trust, that availability, that reciprocity, right?
Right.
If you didn't get them, you will spend the rest of your romantic life trying to get it fulfilled through people who are not your parents. This is where you're in a relationship with a woman and you said, I feel like a damn daddy. I don't feel like her man. She needs me to raise her. The woman says, he's a little boy. I feel like more of his mother than his wife. You know why? They have unmet needs and they're trying to get them fulfilled through you. And you need to let him know that you're not his mom and he needs to go back to his mom and work on them issues or find a mother figure to work on them through, because you're draining me. You're draining me. The relationship is weighing on me because I'm not just wife. I'm wife and I'm mom. I'm not just husband. I'm husband and I am dad. And this is why you got to meet them parents if they're there. And if they're not there, you better do a thorough psychohistory interview with your mate to be to find out what they went through in their life. Because if you find out there was an abandonment issue, there was an intimacy issue, never felt love, given up for adoption, foster care, whatever the case may be, there was a trust issue, then you know there's a vulnerability there. And that woman or that man is going to spend the rest of their life trying to get the childhood unmet needs met. The Bible, I'm not Christian, but one thing in the Bible, it talks about how the sins of the father will visit the children until the umpteenth generation.
Okay, I really dislike this. I hate when Christians use the Bible to justify their position while saying they are not Christians. And the reason I don't like this is because at what point can I hold you accountable to the teachings of the Bible? If I can't hold you accountable to the teaching of the Bible, you don't get to just cherry pick the parts that you want to hold people accountable to. That doesn't make sense. Now, I don't disagree with him here. The problem is most men in the Black community would not be dating eligible. And I think he knows this, and this is why he goes to the opposite gender as opposed to the actual gender, right? Where it's a man needs his father in a lot of people's mind. I don't actually know if this is true, and a girl needs her mother. I think you need both parents. It doesn't have to be like, in my mind, it can just be whatever. You just need a community or a figure in your life in that way. But I feel like a child, a male or female, a girl or a boy, would have something missing if one of their parents, regardless of gender, decide to up and leave. I don't actually care about the gender that leaves. Both of them will have abandonment issue most likely if one of the parents just up and leave. It doesn't. Go ahead.
I agree 100%. Like, children ideally needs both their parents regardless. Boys and girls need both father and mother. There are things that I do for my but there's my son that I do for my son that his mom doesn't do for him because just I'm a man, and there are things that his mom does for him that I know that I would never think of doing. So that balance is helping us create a wholesome child.
Situationships benefit the men. Men eat more, use more utility, and are generally lazier when a woman is around. It's a trap, especially if 50-50. I actually agree with this fully.
It is absolutely true.
I just want to add that I feel like he said a lot of stuff that you should get unless you dealt with your own trauma and have gone through the journey of self-actualization. So you know yourself and you attract someone that also knows yourself. And I think the fact that the host, and I'm assuming, I guess the audience finds this very profound in how and what thing, which I think is very basic understanding, I think speaks very, very lowly on them in the audience.
I agree with you. They said your mic is bogging a little bit, just FYI. I think you learn a lot about someone on a long vacation to get a period. Tell them to book it. Last one. Separating furniture and kitchenware is hard, right? After a breakup, girl, ain't nobody got time for that. All right, let's continue. Again, you guys can stop me at any point.
Oh, I was gonna say, oh, I'm getting a bad echo off of someone, but she just mentioned. Oh, much better. She just mentioned separating furniture and kitchenware, and I think that is difficult. But what's not hard to separate, I'm learning twice now today, is being a Christian from using Christian beliefs. I did not know how often people just say, I'm not a Christian and I'm not telling anybody that they should look at the Bible, but I do find some stuff conveniently supports what I say. So I'm going to use that. I didn't know it was, well, I did know it was this common. That's disingenuous. I knew.
Yeah. No, I like that. I'm really glad you brought that up. By the way, the idea that you are following Christ and you're not a Christian is wild, but let's... Actually, let me look this up right now. Play.
Nothing is more true about that statement than in the world of mental health. If grandfather was an alcoholic, grandson is likely to be. Great-grandson is likely to be. If great-grandma was promiscuous, granddaughter is likely to be. Great-granddaughter is likely to be. It is very hard to break dysfunctional family cycles and patterns. Very hard. That's why when you meet the mom, you say, I know the mom's kind of loose. You feel me? Like,
right.
Are you sure that didn't get passed down? It doesn't mean it had to, but it's a strong likelihood that it did. You got to check your partner's unmet needs, because if they were not met, they're going to be looking for them to get met through you. And that's not your job, nor can you meet them, because unfulfilled issues from childhood can only be fulfilled through those parents.
So what I want to actually get into here, and good game, way to close that out, man.
Nice.
That's a good closure on that conversation. I want to talk about the leadership aspect, because we got a lot of ladies always talking about, they're having troubles finding a man that's qualified to lead a family. And when we talk about a man who's qualified to lead, I want you to define the best way you can what you feel a man needs to actually be able to head and lead a
I watched this, but I don't remember this. I promise you, I bet. Let's do a bet. Who want to bet they don't say finances? Who want to bet? Let's put a bet on it. Let's bet. Do you think they're going to say finance, KD?
Probably. I don't watch these guys, so I'm assuming they care about money. So
all right.
Is
I
this
think
my
they're going to dance around the issue of money.
Petty?
Based on the conversation I watched, they're both going to say finances and not finances at specific parts during the conversation when it benefits them.
Oh, I should have been. All right. I'm going to start doing polls. I apologize. I'm so sorry. Doing the poll is really annoying because I have to go open up another tab. So I'm sorry. I'll do that next time. I'm so sorry. Great poll, though.
Household. That's going to vary woman to woman. Some women want an aggressive dictator. Some women want...
They'll never say that.
They won't, but they do. Some women do. Other women want a man who's more of a facilitator, who takes the lead when necessary, but would much rather collaborate with his queen. You follow? So we have to look at the style of husband a woman is looking for. And to my sisters, I would challenge them respectfully. If the man you want shows up with the ability to lead, do you have enough trust in yourself, in respect for Black manhood, to allow him the opportunity to lead you? Because let me tell you what.
Do y'all have comment here or no? We're good.
Okay. Is this better? The mic?
Yeah, a lot better. A lot better.
Okay, cool. Damn. He was I don't know. Just I had a bit of a brain fart just thinking about what he was saying here. Sorry. I had something to say and then it just escaped my mind.
Some women want an aggressive dictator. Go away.
I got it back again. This idea of trying to mold yourself as a man for a woman and still try to assume the position of I am the leader has never made sense to me, because he is telling men to form themselves to match the type of woman that they want. Whereas if a man just forms himself as a leader, he will attract what he wants. And I don't know why they keep teaching men to follow the orders of women to be leaders and then still consider themselves leaders at the end. It's very confusing. Oh, you're muted.
Sorry, thank you. It says that the woman is leading to me. And the woman dictate what you become as a man. So that sounds odd to me as you being the leader, but let him cook. By the way, anyone can jump in at any time.
But I've had women tell me in therapy, Dr. Umar, I found a man of my dreams. Takes care of me, takes care of my kids. I don't have to work. I trust him. He don't cheat. No issues. But guess what? I was conditioned by my mother and my grandmother to never depend on a man and never let a man make decisions for you.
I don't believe him. I don't believe him. I'm not saying women don't say this. I'm saying Dr. Umar is like, please remember to like the video. It's very useful for me. So he said the women come to him and say, I have a man who is perfect. He don't cheat. I mean, I don't know how you know he don't cheat, but period. He don't cheat. He don't lie. He provide. I don't have to work. He takes care of me. He takes care of my children. But my mother made it hard for me to follow. Or maybe she just don't want to follow. I don't believe she said, my mom made me not willing to follow. Those sounds very specific. they just walked into your office, Dr. Umar. I didn't even know you were a therapist for like general public. I thought you were a school psychologist, but that's neither here nor there. Let's say you are, because you do offer your services on the phone. They just walked into your office and gave you content. They just walked into your office and say, my mom and her hatred for men made it difficult for me to quote unquote submit. I don't believe this, and I wasn't there, so I can't say it's true or not. But I personally don't believe it, and this is why I don't like anecdotes.
I feel like wouldn't submission be more so based off of trust?
Go ahead.
Wouldn't submission more so be based off of the trust in the partner, not what you sort of, I don't know, your mom made you not be submissive?
The mom made her hate women, I guess. I don't know, made her distrust men. It's interesting because even when they talk about women learning to distrust men through their mother, it's like, where was the dad? Where are the fathers to help the daughters not distrust men? And it's interesting because I doubt a father who loves his daughter is going to pretend like that men can't be dangerous and aren't using women. Like, I think dads would be vigilant also to make sure the daughter knows that they can depend on themselves. I mean, I don't know, I would. My child not going to depend on nobody, hopefully.
The conditioning in my family, the intergenerational we don't trust or respect black men has gotten so deep into my mind that the very man I waited my whole life for, I might lose because I can't get control of my issues. So when a sister said you're looking for a leader, are you ready to receive him when he shows up? You see that?
Yeah.
Because a lot of women can't relinquish that, even though our sisters have been punished far too long because of the white man's war against the black man that sends us to the penitentiary and to the graveyard. Black women have had to lead on their own for 50, 60 years. So they've gotten so comfortable not having to answer to a man. Look at this now. You're talking about 3 generations. No man. Now one comes up, traditional family values, church-going man, spiritual man, and she can't let him lead because even though she's tired of being in charge, there's something about the power she don't want to relinquish. And that's a big reason why a lot of women don't have husbands.
That don't make sense. Let's talk about this. You are saying she doesn't want to relinquish the power. It means that leadership, something within leadership is enticing to even women. Even when they're tired, they want to hold on to it. So the woman is making a choice to hold on to it because of something in the leadership, the power they don't want to let go of. But in the same sentence, the same soliloquy, you are saying the reason she had to do it is because of white supremacy and that no men were around and women had to carry the community because men were going to prison and being killed by the white supremacist system. Yet you're blaming her wanting to hold on to that power. Why again? Because she just likes power? That doesn't make sense to me. Wait, we can go back and forth on this idea. So can someone clarify what he's saying and how I'm misinterpreting that?
What I think he's saying is because I've been in a relationship way back in the day where I found that the girl I was with, the woman I was with at the time, was like resistant of me like helping do things for her at some point. We actually went to therapy and all that, and she was like, I've been on my own so long. Me and my mom have been out by ourselves so long that she feels uncomfortable letting me do some things for her because she has like an inherent distrust. She doesn't know how long this is gonna last. She doesn't know if I'm going to take it the long haul with her and things like that. So there was this conflict of like,
did you take it the long haul with her? Did you marry her?
Oh no, we had a lot of disagreements. We eventually broke up.
I'm not saying she was right, but
no, we eventually broke up because it was a lot of conflict. I don't like putting people's businesses out there and all that stuff, but like there are things like I'm always like usually on top of things. She would like not open her mails and read and find out when she's going to take care of stuff. And
wait,
like,
so the breakdown was due to her.
It was a communication breakdown primarily. between both of us because I wasn't adapted to how to communicate with her in a way that we would be able to like go ahead together.
All right. So what are the things that she didn't want you to do for her?
I'm usually like on top of bills, making sure that things are paid. Most of the things are taken care of. Like, but the things that are personal to her, because we were together, they will affect me if those things that she was supposed to take care of weren't taken care of. But like, so for example, if like I would want to know that some bills are paid. And when those bills are not paid, things go wrong when bills aren't paid on time and things like that. So I would like to like step in. I remember sometimes where I would open mails and was like, oh, we're late on this bill and this bill for a few days because she doesn't like to open her bills for some reason. And I would go ahead and open it, and she would not like me opening her mails and that usually was weird to me. And I would like get annoyed and would have arguments and things like that over like opening the mails and finding out the bill she was supposed to take care of is late that I was gonna take care of.
And
That
there's
is just
not auto pay, like you guys didn't do. Wait, but are you saying that because Umar is talking about a woman not submitting to a man because she don't know how to be led by a man? Is that what you were faced with? Like,
no, it wasn't necessarily submission because like it's just about cooperating together and making sure that everything is taken care of.
All right, so the bills were in her name.
There were some bills in her name and some bills in mine. Even her bills, the things that were. There was an example of one day we woke up one morning and her car was gone, and we didn't know where her car was. And it found out like her car was repoed, not because we didn't have money, but because she forgot to pay her bills. And it was me that had to like get on it and like find where her car was and make sure that the car was returned and we paid the bills and things like that.
All right, so is this like your leadership? I'm confused as to what. So you're saying you can relate to like the leadership or
I'm
what
trying to read
exactly?
into what he's saying about like I'm just trying to bring my experience into it to see if he meant like someone would like to take care of some things and take charge of some things and make sure things are done. And because of maybe the style of the way the woman likes to do things, she's resistant to those kind of that kind of arrangement.
Gotcha. All right, Petty, anything to add or we can move on? So they're just going to keep trying to rewrite history, ain't they? Right? Petty, nothing?
I feel like I just submit to the woman probably would be better generally. Yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. That's how I grew up. That's how I heard my mom, dad, yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. So I just grew up submitting.
Why do you think men, Petty, why do you think men think that they should de facto be the leaders?
I'm going to give a cornbread answer here. I'm going to say patriarchy.
What?
I'm going to say patriarchy.
Yeah, I'm good.
Oh.
I'm nosy, so.
Hello. Sorry, I thought phone call on his end. But yeah, no, I'm going to say probably because of tradition in one way or another, either through patriarchy if they're atheist, or still patriarchy but biblical if they're Christian, or still patriarchy but Islamic if they're Muslim, or Black Brotherhood. I don't know what the Black Muslim people call themselves. I forgot. So yeah, I think it's just yeah.
What were you expecting in return, Obi? All right.
Say that
Obi,
again.
I think they were asking what you wanted in return. The people are afraid. The people are afraid to hear further. So let's continue.
Okay.
It's not because they can't find them. It's because they cannot respect a man who shows up with traditional Black masculine traits.
Ooh. So is that a bigger? So wow, is that a bigger?
Okay, what is traditionally Black masculine traits?
I have no idea.
I feel like it might be racist.
I'm trying to figure out how does black masculine all right. All right. So I'm thinking about Jamaica, Brazil, the I'm thinking about the new world, right? When it comes to black in the new world and black men in the new world, the idea of traditional black like masculine traits is very odd to me. And maybe he meant ex ante, like the slave trade, and what that masculinity meant. We were like kings and stuff like that. Maybe that's what he meant because I don't know what traditional black masculinity. You know what? Let's move on. I'm gonna get in trouble if I continue down this path.
Well, my dad is, maybe I can speak to this. My dad is traditionally, I'd say black masculine specifically, not like masculine generally.
Girl, what does it mean? Why are you putting your dad on Fun Street? But also, I'm very nosy, so go ahead. what, what does that mean? I'm nosy.
No, I was gonna make a I don't know him joke, but I feel like he wouldn't take kindly. So feel like that's not an appropriate joke.
You're so wrong. You're so wrong. Are you saying it traditionally black masculine mean not there?
That's well, when I'm thinking about data, well, we don't have to get into that. It depends on what tradition is, because I don't know African data. So
log off my computer now. Absolutely not. I will not tolerate that kind of disrespect for the kings.
The fact that it's not enough of these brothers out here.
It's both. It's both. Now, it's not enough of us to go around. That's true. But I would tell sisters the same thing I would tell a brother who says he can't find a good African American woman. Go to Brazil. I just came from Central America a couple days ago. Those Afro-Latino sisters is fine. I was in Jamaica. Go to the Caribbean. Go to London. There's more black women in the world than any other female. So if you're looking for a black woman, you can find one. Well, guess what, sisters? Africa has no shortage of black men. Caribbean has no shortage of black men.
They're scared of African brothers.
Well, I was going to say, you know what the difference is? You know what the difference is right there? In traditional African culture, the man is the man, and the woman is the woman. So the whole snapping your neck, cursing me out in public, it ain't gonna work. It's not happening in Nigeria. I'm gonna tell you right now. It's not happening in the Congo. It's not happening. You understand? It's not happening in Botswana. You see? So if the sister wants, and don't get me wrong, they won't have to work. Those brothers on the continent and many of the brothers in the Caribbean, they are that traditional black masculinity that our sisters crave. But are you humble?
He's lying, by the way.
You get what you want.
So,
well, we have someone to speak for somewhere in Africa, and
I am
I'll speak for the
Nigerian,
Caribbean.
so he's lying, by the way.
Let me say this about the Caribbean. Please do not think you can go to the Caribbean, go to Jamaica specifically, to quote unquote get a black man just to provide for you. We're labeled third world, I hate that phrasing, for a reason. The fact that Umar is up here peddling this foolishness is ridiculous to me. Now, I won't speak for Africa as a continent. I won't separate the different countries, maybe South Africa, I don't know. But girl, where? Girl, what do you mean, Umar?
Umar is describing white patriarchy and then just attributing a black face to it. I feel like when you look past pre-colonial Africa, there was not a big sense of homophobia, patriarchy. Those weren't there. Even the most respected leaders were they could be transgender. Like that idea of masculine traits is very restrictive into white patriarchy, which ironically this Hotep Umar is praising as this is something black and African when that's not actually the case.
But that's also like what you're saying, underscore that with answer this. What would happen to women if they did the head roll and the loud voice in these countries? And is that the system under which you want women to operate? Like, are you saying women should be subjugated in an effort to bring quote unquote peace in the community?
Yes, that is exactly what he's saying.
Oh, that's what he's saying, but I don't think that's right.
Yeah.
That
no,
is what
not you.
Most men like this is what they're saying. They always refer to the Middle East and refer to like this imaginary Africa that they think exists, that I come from and I was born and raised in, to justify whatever BS they were talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. There is a lot of deprogramming that has to go on, even for me coming to the US. I don't agree with this. And people always like sort of create this dream of these other countries about how you can get this and you can get that, and women will do this and women will do that. When the abuse in this country is they're through the roof. And I think, Petty, you're the one who said this in one of your live stream where it's like, it seems like the places where men tend to think about quote unquote good and the perfect relationships are places where women are subjugated. And when they reminisce about going back in time, it's to a time where women's rights weren't as robust, even though it's not enough as it is currently. And that's the problem.
Yeah, I was just watching a TED Talk earlier this week from a woman.
God, why are you watching everything? I haven't heard you said I've been reading a book yet. Go ahead. I'm kidding.
I mean, I read research while I watch stuff to see if it's true or not. And what this woman was talking about was the problem with blah, 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 Western feminism, actually kind of similar to what this man was saying earlier today and what Dr. Umar is saying. And she said something like, you know, Western feminism is white feminism, but these problems that white women have don't exist in Africa. We're equal here. And I don't know what she was talking about, because the first thing that came up when I Googled Africa, not Africa specifically, but African women, was a lot of statistics. One of those statistics being regarding a certain type of mutilation that happens to underage girls.
Oh, yeah.
Usually. And I think it's upwards of more than 200 million currently. So when people are talking about countries that would be good for men to go to, I'm having a side eye. But when people are now, well, when Dr. Umar is now saying these are countries that would be good for women to go to, Black women specifically, I'm confused. So, yeah.
To put it straightforward, these guys just want a place where they can use violence to control women. That is as simple as it is. And that's why they're looking for places where women are subjugated and oppressed, so they don't have enough rights. They want to be violent on a woman to do what they say without going to jail for it.
But that's the issue, though. Like, for me, it's like, okay, I hear you, and that's terrible, and it's wrong. Yet there are women following you, and I don't understand if they're not like hearing this, because the dream world being created isn't one where women will be happy. Let's be clear. Because if in Dr. Umar's articulation, women don't want to give up leadership because they like the power, but he's then willing to force you to be subjugated so that there is male leadership, even though he's articulating that you don't want to give it up because you like the power. If you like the power, why would you give it up? And I'm not saying there should be a fight for power. I'm saying that it doesn't seem like women's best interest is taken into consideration when they're talking about this perfect world between the union for men, when it comes to the union for men and women. It seems like women's role is to be diminished. Because even he's saying women like the power that leadership in their own life comes with. That's a good thing. Why you want to give that up? I don't understand it. But if you do want to give it up, period, I don't give advice. But it gap.
But can you let them lead? Because that goes against the dominant trend of thought coming out of the radical Black feminist camp, where you don't answer to no man, you don't take orders from no man, you don't even make a decision with a man. You are in charge. He is the enemy. So if you're a Black woman coming from a radical Black feminist tradition, the last thing you want is an African or Caribbean brother, because they're not having that. You're going to respect them, and they're going to respect you. You see, in America,
that is not true. He just added, they're going to respect you. Respect is earned. Respect is earned. You don't sit there and say, oh, you are going to respect him. By the way, they do not have to respect you because you don't have the power to command the kind of respect. You better hope that they are benevolent in their ability to be dictators. That's what you better hope when you're in a country or culture that does not allow for women to have a voice. You better hope that the people who you need to look to give you power or access to power are good. That doesn't make sense to me. Like, literally does not make any sense. What do you mean you're going to respect? No, respect is earned. If you didn't do anything, respect. I don't understand why women buy this.
It's a very oppressive mindset as well, because as if you are a leader, one that has emotional intelligence, to know your partner might struggle with trusting you, with all of that stuff. If you want that type of ideal relationship where she just relinquishes all responsibility to you, as a leader, you should understand that you should work with your partner. He's basically talking about taking it easy out to find someone else to subjugate, as opposed to having someone have their own agency and autonomy to choose to follow you and respect you, if that is the goal that you want.
Yeah, agreed. And the shorthand, dismissive approach to the analysis of radical Black feminism is a problem for me. Like, you don't dismiss the work of writers and thinkers and people who put academic rigor in that which they do and say, oh, they see men as the enemy. The fight for equality is not to say men are the enemy, it's to say men who deem themselves superior by virtue of manhood. Yes, you need to be taken down a notch. Like, what do you mean? You are not the leader de facto because you were born male. What do you no.
You know what's interesting? This is regarding the workplace, not a personal relationship, so I know it's different. And I also don't have research at the moment. I only have my personal experience. So big block of salt, right? Probably the worst companies I've worked for are the companies who have someone above you, supervisor, boss, who comes in and they're like, it's my way or it's the highway. They're not very willing to work with you. They're not very willing to have a cordial work relationship with you. They think that because by virtue of them being the boss, they get to boss you around, which sounds like, like what a boss does, but probably the best productivity I've had for any company, the best outcomes that we've had as a team have to do with bosses who are willing to work with you and maybe overcome some personal challenges you might have taking directions, maybe find a different way to give you those directions, or maybe give you some more leadership over your own self and allow you to do the work if you're able to get it done in a productive way. Like those malleable bosses who are more like less over your head and more beside you, I think tend to be the better bosses. I just don't have the data on that at the moment. So it feels weird for someone to come in and just be like, I'm gonna subjugate you. That feels extremely unusual to me. Yeah.
Cooking may be something that women consider to be beneath them. In Africa, our sisters guard the kitchen. They don't even want you in it. They proud because what you consume keeps your spirit alive. So they are very protected. The kitchen is almost a sanctuary. In America, I don't feel like cooking. And you see, so it's a whole different orientation. So the same thing for brothers. If you want a sister with old-fashioned female traits, go to Africa, go to the Caribbean. But sticking here in the American theater, here's a big issue that Black women have to deal with. We got to deal with it too. This whole thing of serial monogamy versus the taboo of polygyny. Many Black men, because we get our cake and get to eat it too, we are outnumbered. You guys are in Atlanta, one of the most outnumbered states, right? Black men, Black women, outnumbered cities. We get to have our cake and eat it too. Because of that, we tend not to tell women the truth that very few men, especially alpha brothers, are monogamous. Most alpha men, most men, period, are polygamous. That doesn't mean they're going to have two women at the same time all the time. It means that during the course of the relationship with the primary queen, you will entertain other feminine energy along the way. We're not honest with the women. We don't tell them that. We'll tell them it's only you, baby, and I love only you, baby. So every woman thinks, if I find the right one, I never have to worry about having to share him, when that's really not the truth for a lot of the men. Now, that might be an issue of preference, but then we got to look at an issue of predicament. There's not enough Black men to go around. So if a sister wants an American African brother, she don't want my African brother, my Caribbean brother, my South Central American brother. She's going to have to consider a polygynous arrangement. Now, when I say that, the feminists go off.
They go crazy.
Absolutely. I want to challenge the feminists. I got to push back on my radical Black feminists, because the same sister who says she will not partake in polygyny will willingly date a married man.
I've seen it.
So help.
The point where you're costing the government $50 billion as a group means that we don't have the right to talk about no polygyny anything. That's what we don't do. We don't have the right, when there are so many kids being born without a father around, you can sit around talking about Black men, alpha men, or polygyny. What do you mean? This is disgusting. Talking about, oh, you can just get up and go to different countries. You can date out. You could date an Asian, a white. You can date out. Doctor, the fact that his support is black women is absolutely bizarre to me. It's absolutely bizarre. It must be a low self-esteem.
What, you think that's crazy? Having trouble dating in Atlanta? Just fly to Ghana. Why not? That seems like very easy and reasonable. You know what's interesting about Dr. Umar? So I was doing some Googling because I heard he has 2 children out of wedlock. So I was like very interested in what his Google has to say about that. But what I found instead was apparently he claims to be a Frederick Douglass descendant. It says he has repeatedly claimed, I've never heard him say this. He repeatedly claimed to have a familial connection with Frederick Douglass, often claiming to be a direct descendant of the 19th century abolitionist and civil rights leader. But what I found interesting and also petty is that the Frederick Douglass family, actually his descendants, reached out and released a statement publicly saying that we can tell you, quote, we can tell you with 100% certainty that Johnson is not a descendant of Frederick Douglass. I don't know. This feels unusual. That feels like something that's like a very easy lie to confirm or find out is a lie. So I don't like the fact that he would lie about something that feels easy for someone to verify and prove false. I don't know that I can listen to this interview and treat anything he's saying seriously anymore.
He went on the Roland Martin show and was confronted with that very question, and he danced and did all kinds of stuff, but never answered the direct question. But yeah.
Oh, here's my favorite one. Who took the genetic test though? Who does the DNA testing in America?
The white man, the white institution. They're after Dr. Umar.
Yeah. So no, yeah, I don't think polygamy is gonna save us.
Now, watch you make up a whole foolishness. He just said radical black feminists don't like men, don't want to deal with men, think men are the enemy. And now he's using the same radical black feminists to talk about how they're in relationship with men who have other women. Just making stuff up. But let's hear this foolishness.
Help me understand where you are against plural marriage, but you have no problem being the undercover mistress for a man who you know is married. You see that? Wow. So do you know what that tells us? What? You're not against polygamy. You're for polygamy as long as nobody know you're practicing it. So that's called hypocrisy. Wow. A lot of our sisters are polygynous hypocrites. I will do it if nobody knows, but if you ask me to stand up and be accountable to the community, I'd much rather not.
So it's pretty much more concerned with reputation.
I'm a little confused as to where he got that fact from.
He does not. He made it up. He literally made it up.
I think that's a fallacy. I forgot which fallacy that is, but like the fact that people don't talk about something they do doesn't mean that they that we should let people do it. Like I'm pretty sure a lot of men like essay women and they don't talk about it publicly and they would be ashamed if anyone knew. Just because we know that that's true, that men might lie about that, that doesn't mean we should now, the solution is, oh, we should just let them do it and endorse it.
I think what he's saying is that a lot of women are dating the same men without knowing, because the men are lying that they're dating. The men are lying to
but that would make the women that would make the women hypocrites.
But so that the women don't know that they're dating the same men.
Yeah. So the lack of knowledge prevents the woman from being a hypocrite. Yes.
So but the thing is, these guys that talk slick and articulate annoy me. In plain language, he's saying, women, let your men cheat. Women, just let your men have as many women as possible. That's the way to save a black community. And if he can say it as simply as that, everybody will know he's a buffoon. But he will dance around it and use these big words and jazz hands to confuse people. And I don't even know why people listen to him. It annoys me.
But even using the big words that he's saying, like he's still saying the same thing. It's kind of easy to pick out that he's telling women to just give up the fact that men are just polygamy minded and that they should accept. Like that's literally what he's saying. He's promoting degeneracy as the solution to the degeneracy in the black community.
Yeah. Since when do women in polygamous relationship go on broadcast? So thank you for the super sticker. Let's continue.
And what do sisters fear the most about being in a plural marriage? The kickback she's going to get from other sisters.
Yeah.
It's the queendom that they fear. You dummy. What you in there for? Letting them sleep with. Now, mind you, the same person calling her dummy, her man got another woman too. The difference is this sister is with a man who was honest enough to tell her, this is what I'm going to be about. So with me, I'm going to have to.
So he just admitted that black men are out here just cheating. And if you ask him that directly, he like, no, most black men don't cheat. No.
That's what I'm talking about. These men know the truth. They know what they're doing. They know what they want. They want subjugated women that will allow them be as irresponsible and as undisciplined and as degenerate as they want to be, while treating them like they are respectable human beings.
If you're a woman supporting Dr. Umar, you can't convince me you don't have low self-esteem. Don't at me.
2 queens, only 2. I don't want more than that, right? Because the older you get, the less of your life force you need to be shooting out anyway, because you're going to die young. You understand? And that's another thing as brothers need to understand. You got to get that penile syndrome, that lower chakra under control, because it'll take you out of here early. Wow. You know, remember, women are designed spiritually. They devour our essence. You understand? They're man eaters in a good way. You see? So as you get older, you got to slow down. Like the Chinese, they have a philosophy of the chi, which they got from us. But they say you only get a certain amount of chi. And the biggest way you lose your chi is through releasing your energy into a woman. Once your chi is dried up, the ancestors take you. That's Chinese medicine. Yes. Wow. They say it comes in limited amount. Once it's used up, you're out of here. So we have to start pulling back. But again, we are too oriented in our dating culture towards sex. And we're losing because...
Wait. You can fundamentally believe that men lose their chi every time they do that and women take it. But you think men should just have a bunch of women and women shouldn't have a bunch of men? When you just explained, I don't agree with this, by the way, but by what you just explained, it sounds like women should just go around and just suck a bunch of
collecting chi all over the planet.
Wait, this philosophy does not work well with what he promotes, like at all. Actually, they're very diametrically opposed.
There is no consistency in what these people say. Every sentence stands on its own. It can contradict the next 15 sentences, and it doesn't matter. All it boils down to is allow me to do whatever I want. And I'm not accountable for you. I'm not responsible for you. I don't owe you anything, but you owe me everything. It's as simple as that. That's the rhetoric I hear from all these people, however they want to twist it.
And I guess I was proven wrong about talking about finances, because he's basically talking about black men in here. And he talks about traditional relationships and that men are just traditionally polygamous or whatever. But a majority of black men cannot fill the role of just one woman, let alone multiple. And so he's just like the advocation of, I get all these partners and I don't have to fulfill the role of being financially responsible for any of them because I literally can't. It's just another thing to set up black women specifically for failure.
Yeah.
Because of it, even the women. Why you think they're getting BBLs, breast surgery, all of this? Why? Because we have stripped our black women of the sacredness of their vagina. The black man has stripped the black woman of the sacredness of her vagina. The vagina is a sacred space. You're not even supposed to go in it unless you're willing to assume responsibility for that woman and everything that proceeds from that vagina, i.e. children. A lot of us only see the vagina as a pleasure object. You see that? Right. And because we have reduced the woman to an object, she's now reducing herself to an object to do the best she can to attract a man. If we told all black women, we are not going to be bothered with you unless you start wearing skirts again, or we're not going to be bothered with you unless you stop dressing sexually provocative, they would do it. Because guess what they love more than the BBL? Guess what they love more than the weaves and the wigs and the tight jeans? They love having a man to come home to. We control.
How did welfare take you out of the home? How did welfare take you out of the home?
This is another sentence that doesn't correlate with any other sentence that you just have to take for it at its value.
Dr. Umar points to the government dismantling of the black family vis-a-vis the welfare system. How did that happen if you actually believe that black women will give and do anything for black men, which, by the way, is what people described sin as black male worship? So you recognize this, but you still walk around with the dusty narrative that welfare took you out of the home.
I think I can take this one. So if you
Wait,
would
before
allow
you do that, someone don't understand what I'm saying. The idea that welfare took you out of the home says that black women chose welfare over the black man. That's what it means. So if he believes that black men just have all this power over black women, which they do, welfare and took them out of no home. They up and left. Sorry. Go ahead now. Explain, Patty. Sorry.
Could I briefly present my screen maybe for like a minute or less?
Why do you think you don't have to, you have to ask me?
Just being polite. All right. So
You've never been
I was lucky enough to have this tidbit. Someone tagged me in earlier today. So I think this is a good explanation kind of how welfare, a lot of people don't know actually how welfare impacted the black man. So this is a 59-second short, if you don't mind me. I'll put it on 1.25 just so we can quickly.
So I hate you. Yo, my man, what's up? You play too much. You play absolutely too much.
Please don't laugh. I worked hard on this.
No, this is great.
I don't know if you can see it very clearly. I'll try and hold it up here, and I'll read it out to you since my writing is small. So this skull that I drew here is welfare, and I drew it as a skeleton because welfare is deadly. And if we can make this line to go to, this is black women, and I gave her some hair and some other attributes and such, so she could distinguish. So once the welfare affects the black woman, when we go down to this is the black man here. He has on a backwards hat and some jewelry and Jordans. And now the black woman has berated the black man because welfare has come into the black woman's life and removed him from it. So as you can see here, there's the home. And I didn't have this part before, but he brought up a very real concern about the dog. So I drew a little dog here, if I can get that.
The dog, that's pretty good.
So you see that the black man goes over the home and continues the path forward. Can you see, based on this diagram, how the black man was taken out of the home? Do you understand it? So I think now we can finally put this myth that welfare didn't affect black men to rest. Thank you. KD, you didn't have anything to add to that masterpiece?
Nah, I think you said it all.
The sexual explicitivity of our women, but because we're so thirsty for how they look, it's hard for us to bring them back to a platform where they could once again be regarded as the queens we need them to be.
Before, most women that I know, before they truly consider going to another country to get a black man, the first thing they do is locally just dating outside their race. Locally, that's what they consider. And I just seen your whole facial expression.
A lot of coaches advise that too.
And a lot of people,
if you can't find connection with black men, then you should go out and try something a little different.
I want my sisters to be careful. And the reason I want my sisters to be careful, being who I am, I get a lot of stories from a lot of black women. I've had black women tell me they were engaged or married to white men for years, even with children, only for him to turn around and call her the N-word, call her a black bitch, tell her she'll never be as good as a white woman. You understand? Because remember, all white people have that in them. Just because they haven't sex with you, I don't know where we get this idea that if a white person beds you, that means they're somehow different from any other white person. Didn't Thomas Jefferson bed half the plantation? Didn't George Washington bed half the plantation? So where do we get this idea that if a white person is sexing you, they're somehow not racist? They just as racist. I had one sister send me an email. She said, Dr. Umar, my white boyfriend calls me the N-word when we're having sex.
What?
Yes.
Wow.
In fact, she called in on one of my lives.
So that, I guess that's cool that he has stories and anecdotes, but I feel like we've seen empirical data that shows that there's quite a bit of danger that black women can face with men of their own race, be it abuse, assault, and homicide. So I again, his whole Hotep facade is it's irritating. It's not actually addressing anything.
Yeah, like the idea, the research indicate that black women and white men relationship are the most successful marriages. So I don't know what Dr. Umar talking about. Don't really want to engage. I don't believe a black woman who is actually dating a white man called Dr. Umar to tell Dr. Umar that her white boyfriend is calling her the N-word during I don't believe it. I don't. Mistress Monica has been a member for 22 months, almost 2 years. Thank you. I actually appreciate that.
It's true. She called Dr. Umar and she said, Dr. Umar, you know, we're in contact with each other all the time and talk frequently, and I will follow your message. As I was been dating this man for 7 years, I was about to leave the house for groceries, but I came back for my keys and I overheard him through the door saying, yes, my master plan is working. I have fooled the Negro into thinking I actually love her. Dr. Umar, I'm just so shocked. This is the third time this has happened this year. And then Dr. Umar quickly ran to spread this. He Paul revered his way over here. Well, I guess people outside the U.S. don't know who that is, but yeah.
San German Japanese baddie. Thank you for being a member for 14 months. I'm so confused. Team is, I only have 8 minutes left. All right. You are a follower of Dr. Umar and you're dating a white man and you're calling Dr. Umar to tell. You know what? Let's move on. Dr. Umar, no one believes you. Literally, no one believes that.
I'm also gonna echo Katie as far as I've been noticing a lot with Dr. Umar. There is no research. It's just, oh, my friend, this black woman told me, just like word of mouth. So yeah.
By the way, I actually really like this panel. So we should do this more often, just this kind of panel. I might actually switch the males. I'm doing the men's panel every month, and I might like exclude other men just generally. And we'll just do this. If you all are available, I'll let you all know. Email me after this so I can have your emails.
Okay, and to kind of bolster Dr. Umar's argument, actually, he didn't have to just make up some black woman came and told him this. There's actually been some compelling research come out recently regarding interracial relationships from, have you ever heard of street interviews? There's this new qualitative study. They're doing street interviews where they select and edit what they want people to see and then put it on the internet instead of showing the whole story. So Dr. Umar should look into that. That might actually bolster his argument.
Yeah. Let's go to these street interviews.
And discussed it. Yeah. He calls her the N-word when they're having sex, and she wanted me to know if I felt that was acceptable. I can't believe she could. Yes. Wow. Because you got to remember, in white culture, the men believe you never really had sex unless you've been with a jungle woman, i.e. our sisters. So all white men want
to. Go what? Dr. Umar, what you talking about? Where are you getting this from? Like, I'm so confused. Like, so Dr. Umar just sits up there and just makes stuff up. And why are you calling black women jungle women? Like, I'm so confused by this. Sorry,
maybe he
why
talks
am I
to
shouting?
a version of himself, and that's where he gets his information from.
I feel like Dr. Umar actually sits down and just like thinks about like these random thoughts and just like hold on to them as if they actually happened. Like, I think he has thoughts about like people and just assume they happen. I am with you, Katie.
Access the black vagina because it's the best vagina in existence, but they only accessing it, as a fetish. See, white people fetishize us, and we so in love with whiteness, and we're so in love with accessing whiteness and proximity to whiteness, we don't even realize when we're being paraded around like zoo monkeys. White women fetishize black men, and the reason why they love.
He projecting black men's interracial outcomes onto black women. Yes, because it's I don't want to say this because I don't like giving him credit, but he is funny. Like in the worst, like hearing this man talk is just pure comedy to me. And I think he just knows that. And his brand right now is being a comedian. Because in a way, he thinks this is serious.
Love having a black man is in a relationship with a white man, she know who's boss. When a white woman is with a white man, she know who's boss. So if she wants to be a boss, she got to get the black man. He's the only man she can have with. She know she can have her way with him. And if she don't get it with his consent, she'll get it through the legal system, i.e. Jonathan Majors. I can destroy your black ass whenever I feel like it. Yeah, you could be worth $1 billion, Bill Cosby, but what's going to happen when I tell the courts you sexually harassed me 40 years ago? See, the white woman loves the black man because she's always in the driver's seat of the relationship. She got the whole force of the white power structure behind her if he gets out of line. Never consider that.
Is he blaming black women for Jonathan Majors?
But no, he's saying the white women have power and Emmett Till, and yeah, that's what he's saying. And this idiot, I mean, this other guy's like, oh wow, I never considered that. What do you do with these men?
I mean,
Like, they don't think about systemic issue. By the way, I don't agree with Dr. Umar here, but at least he's doing some kind of systemic analysis about power and power dynamic. The difference is a white man, if we think about the power hierarchy, will always have power regardless of who he's dating. A white woman can only dominate everyone else but a white man. Black women might as well go date the CEO as opposed to the manager. Girl, because if you set up this power structure, if you set up the power structure this way, girl, who are you gonna date? I'm so annoyed by these two interviewers because they absolutely do nothing. So I'm just gonna move on before I say something I can't take back. Thank you, Sin. I'm convinced Umar paid someone for his degree. Jungle Woman is crazy. Jungle Woman is nasty work. Like, and
I've always been shook. Like I haven't been able to truly date a white woman at all. Like it's fear built into me. I mean, all throughout my childhood, you know, I grew up learning cases on Emmett Till. You know, growing up, that was put into me early, so I already knew what the situation was.
You do think about. I mean, you think about, you know, when you see the police. Think about when you see a group of white men.
Why you think about with the black woman?
Oh yeah,
it's gonna be thinking about me while I'm with
you just out there. Protect.
Absolutely.
I don't date women.
Didn't that one said he never thought about that? I actually would ask the other one the same question about who he dates too, just because.
Isn't that interesting though? Because the man earlier who came on your stream, again, I don't watch his content, so I don't know the extent of his audience, how long he's been doing it. But one of the first things he said when you asked him a question about his beliefs was, I never really thought about that. Give me a couple seconds so I can really just digest that. Like, have a whole platform speaking to thousands, millions of people, haven't thought about that. Wait, a white woman might use the police against me? Wait, I didn't consider that ever. What? Profound. Dr. Umar, you're truly an intellect.
Just useless. Like, I have never thought about that. I just don't understand how these men have no real thoughts or any kind of analysis that's not like, it's not, you don't have to be that deep to like do like surface level analysis. I've never thought about that. You know what? Go back to never thinking about it either.
Who have had sex with non-African men.
Even if it was just an experience?
Yes.
Wow.
If they sex them, a date, I can live with that. A kiss, disgusting, but I might swallow that.
Oh my God.
But if she gave that honeycomb hideout to a devil, if she gave her cookies to that Caucasian slayer, I cannot go back into that cave after she let a Neanderthal enter it. I cannot do it. She has disrespected her vagina and every female ancestor we've ever had. I cannot do it.
Wow.
Strong words from Dr. Johnson.
So listen, what we're gonna do, y'all know, family, for the people that's already here.
So, you know what? I'm gonna leave that alone.
You already know when we get to the initiation hotline. What we're gonna do is we're gonna bring the people up, we're gonna bring the family up, and I want to get y'all take on this one here.
Listen, this is the first live he has ever been featured on, so this is huge. So y'all better send them super chats over. No nonsense when you call it in. Y'all make sure y'all looking good. Make sure y'all prepared. We're gonna take care of Dr. Doctor. Right.
And listen, we're gonna put the link in here. So Ryan, could you prep the link up for the family?
I got you.
Because what we're gonna do here, I'm gonna put the link inside the chat. You guys are gonna be able to enter. You go backstage. I'm gonna let you guys up. And what I want your take on is whether or not you are for or against dating out.
With whether this relationship is going to survive or not. Did you grow up with your mother and your father? If not, why not? How close are you with your father now? Are your parents still married? How many siblings did you have? How did y'all get along? Have you ever lived with a man? How long did that relationship last? Have you ever been married? Those are the questions you need to ask. Indirect questions that help you see into that person's childhood. Because guess what, Queen? We always carry our childhood with us. Psychologically, we call it the inner child. Who you were from birth to age 12, full-time African. If you make up your mind you're gonna be a full-time African, we good.
I get it.
No issue with
It's clear.
Yeah.
It's very clear. So everybody that had questions, it should be cleared up. I'm gonna bring one or two other people up real quick so we can get your take on this before we move back to the conversation here. Who we gonna bring up on this joint, man? You know what? Let's bring the brother. We got Mike in the chat here. Mike, welcome to the stage.
Hey.
Welcome to Holiday Initiative, my brother. Can you hear us?
Loud and clear. Mic check, mic check.
Do me a favor, Mike. Give me your age, your location, and I want to hear your take on this.
29, California. And Umar's not going to like me because I believe that you can date who you want to date, just don't be a coon. And, you know, we regard Frederick Douglass with high esteem, and he married a white woman at the end of the day. So I look at a man's actions more so than who he dates.
Let me respond to my brother, and I appreciate the dialogue because we still brothers even if we disagree. I want to clarify the Frederick Douglass piece. You're absolutely right. About a decade before his death as an old man, he married a white woman. But let's not forget about Queen Mother Anna Mary Douglas, who he was married to for nearly 50 years, who gave birth to all 5 of his children, who helped him escape from slavery to freedom, and who ran the Underground Railroad in Rochester, New York during his absence. I'm only bringing that up because we talk about the white woman so much that a lot of our children don't know. Frederick Douglass had a dark-skinned, chocolate, beautiful, nappy-headed wife. So I want to make sure Anna Mary Douglas gets her due. Now, to your point that we can marry who we want and not be a coon. How is not building a family with a black woman? How can you be exempt from cooning?
No. Is Frederick Douglass a coon in your book then?
By his definition, yes.
Yeah, so like, what, you don't get to just sidestep the question by saying, he also married a black woman. Yeah, and cheated on her. Sorry.
He's a snake oil salesman. That's what he is. He has the right cadence, the right vibrato. He puts off enough confidence that people for some reason take him seriously. And yeah, it's a fraud in my mind.
Yeah, like this doesn't make sense. Like you revere Frederick Douglass. Are you gonna deal with the facts? No, getting feet massaged by Hispanic men in class, but go off. Dr. Umar just said, like, all you have to do to be black, if you're Hispanic or have any black heritage at all, is just wish upon a star. So that I skipped that part because I'm tired, and we are way over time.
If you do not build family with a black woman.
So by your own rhetoric, it's okay if we marry a white woman as long as we marry a black woman first.
No, you should not be marrying a white woman at all. If the salvation of the African people rests on the shoulders of the African family, do we not have an obligation to be with our own women?
Interesting. And I believe that
shouldn't you marry them before having multiple children with multiple women and shift them? Wasn't Umar complaining about one of his the mother of his child putting him on child support? He was. That wasn't a question. He was. That wasn't allegedly. He said this.
And does Umar describe himself as a Pan-Africanist? That's what he calls himself. Yeah, he doesn't represent the Pan-African at all. Pan-African is about an actual liberation of African peoples. It's not about whatever he's trying to make it of not laying with white women. Yeah.
Sisters, right? Yes. And what about the wealth argument? Women, on average, outlive their husbands. So when we transition, if we married a snow bunny, is she going to use any of your wealth to empower the black community after you're...
Okay, so this is a great example of an argument for why black women should marry white men, because they will take the wealth back into the black community.
On, i.e. Kobe Bryant, i.e. Marvelous Marvin Hagler. You know, all these great black men who married these white women. James Earl Jones is an elder. We're not expecting him to go anywhere anytime soon. Is Sidney Poitier still with us, or did he...
I'm not sure.
Can somebody
I'm gonna
look that up, please? I don't want to speak it if it's not correct. We don't want to force no elders into the land of ancestors before their time.
So the only reason I mentioned that I judge a man by his actions is because
Sidney Poitier passed away, married to a white woman. He was a very wealthy man. That white woman got all the Sidney Poitier's money. That non-African Latino got all the Kobe Bryant's money. That white woman got all the Marvelous Marvin Hagler's money. This is wealth that we need to empower the black community and build institutions. How are you not a sellout if you're giving white people that type of wealth when they've already stolen enough from us? How could you find a white woman who could ever...
I hate the fact that he literally copy-pasted Sin's talking point, and I'm only using Sin, for example, because Sin and him had a debate on Fox Soul, and it's funny because you can play Dr. Umar on Fox Soul, juxtapose him against Sin, and then replay this, and you would see no difference. You would see no difference. You could make Dr. Umar debate himself. I don't like that. And that's what, like, I feel, let me leave that alone.
Understand you as well as a sister.
Yeah. Well, the only reason why I mentioned people's actions is because you yourself exclusively date black, yet you're one of the biggest scammers in our community. It's been 12 years since you started.
Dang.
Facts. No lies told. Where is the lie?
So I think that is uncouth. I don't like that approach. I would never do something like that. But like, is it true though?
I don't know. I feel like if he was embodying black masculinity, he would have took the criticism and then responded in kind instead of just
Removing someone. I'm trying to figure out where the school at, because like for real. Look, I don't trust these people with these organizations being built, and people. Where is it? Where's this organization go? Where is this school that people have been donating to? Like I don't understand that. And I'm willing to retract everything bad I've ever said about Dr. Umar, not everything, but most of it. If I see a school, I will personally contribute to the school if it is operational and up to code.
It's been 13 years already, so you're probably going to have to wait another 13.
Girl, period. A scam is a scam is a scam. Scammers, girls, just scammers. The scammers.
Like that.
Man,
Why you do me like that, bro? Oh man. Oh
we
man.
was going good until Mike
man.
went a little left.
Mike, come on.
Oh man. I thought the brother was a good brother.
Yeah, you know, I actually want to talk about some of the stuff that we've been hitting here because
No problem. Go right ahead.
We hit on color.
The way to finding your queen.
Oh, that's what we don't want to hear that.
I know.
We don't want to hear that.
You may have to get hurt once or twice.
Wow.
On this path. Let me just be real. You're probably going to have happen to you what you've done to a woman.
That's not good.
You feel me?
Yeah.
Because that's the way the universe works. So the universe is glad you on your path to finding your one and only queen. But guess what? The universe also has to give you back some of what you put out. And you have to be focused enough not to get discouraged when you start experiencing some of the stuff you made women experience.
Wait, Themis.
Yeah.
And a lot of us, our karma is going to get.
Did he just slip up and say one and only queen? But like a few sentences ago, he was saying something about having multiple queens.
Yep. He said he gonna have two. He said he trying to get two queens. Plural. Now he want those one and only. Umar don't know what he's talking about.
Wow. On his path. Let me just be real. You're probably going to have happen to you what you've done to a woman.
That's not good.
You feel me?
Yeah.
Because that's the way the universe works. So the universe is glad you on your path to finding your one and only queen. But guess what? The universe also.
Oh, I did not hear that. You're going to have what you caused to happen to women happen to you. I heard that I heard one of them say, "Oh, that's not good," and now you are scared. I know this is not true, but I wish it were true. I wish that's how karma worked, so that what you put out, you actually get back. Because that man around there talking about, oh, that's not good. What have you done? These are the quote unquote good men, by the way. What have you done to women? All right, I've hit the 3-hour mark. Let's see what the next person call in, and then we'll go in the after show and end.
Has to give you back some of what you put out. And you have to be focused enough not to get discouraged when you start experiencing some of the stuff you made women experience.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
And a lot of us, our karma is going to get us through our daughters.
Oh.
They're going to be done by men the way we did women. So get ready for it. The sooner you stop your bullshit, the sooner your karmic cycle can stop hitting you up.
That's the worst kind of karma to get right there. Coming to the little girl,
your
baby.
Yeah.
And I know, listen, and that does happen because I got one of my most savage uncles. One of my most savage uncles of all time. He got blessed with 5 daughters.
Incredible.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
5 of them.
Whoa.
And I'm like, we all looking at him like, you know what happened. You know what happened, brother.
Yes.
So,
That's not karma. That is culture. That is not karma. Anyone who believes that they can push off their bad deeds and have their children reap the consequences, ridiculous and disgusting. But the uncle knows that having 5 girls in a culture that degrades women means that they're going to have to experience that kind of degradation, not because of karma, but because they know the culture. That's the problem. Men who do this engage in this conversation about, oh, I don't want any girls, because you know exactly the culture you created and what is going to happen to these young girls when they go out in said culture. But you all sit around and pretend like this is not the case and women should just quote unquote choose better. When you know the culture, it is not karma. It is not your karma hitting your daughters. It is the culture that you have created and participated in, continuing to the extent that your daughters, when you have them, have to go out into the world and experience the same kind of degeneracy that you perpetuated and helped to create. You are a problem. This is not karma. Disgusting.
Yeah, and the more insidious part of framing it in karma as opposed to culture is that it absolves of actually trying to addressing and changing that culture to make it safe for their daughters. It's like, oh man, I was a piece of crap growing up, so I guess my daughter's gonna have to deal with a piece of crap. As opposed to men have been pieces of crap. We should probably change us being pieces of crap.
Yeah, which is why we revert back to the previous conversation where he's like, oh, these women don't want to depend on a man. That's what happens when even a father is in their child's life and they love their daughter. They're going to tell their daughter to be mindful of men, make sure you have your own, don't depend on a man. Those same conversation you think women are having with the girls, if a father is in the child's life and the child is a girl, they'll tell her the same thing if they love her. Because they know what this culture perpetuates. They know what this culture is. And I'll stop it here because I'm way over time and I'm going to be late. Let's go into the after show, and then we'll wrap up in the after show with final thoughts. So I don't know how we still have over 800 people here. I truly, truly, truly appreciate you all. Hello.
Hello, Thebes. How you doing?
Oh, good. How are you? Is this your first time on?
Yes, first time on. I seen the invite. I just got the invite. I did not see it. It came in kind of late, so I say let me hop on because I've seen you before, and you do a great job on your channel. So I said let me hop on a little bit, a quick second. Say hi to everybody. Salute everybody. How y'all doing?
Awesome. Well, hopefully we get to talk next month when we do the next mail panel. I'll send out the email again for next month.
Okay. Okay.
So final thoughts. Let's go around. Let's start with KD.
He offered no type of actual solution to addressing the issues of the Black community, which could be traced back to, I like to point it as Black males' capitulation or surrendering to white supremacy and behaving in white supremacist nature. So going back to how you asked of, we should get more Black boys in the school, and how do we do that? So I definitely agree. College or trade school. I think to get that mindset in there is to reprogram this idea of instant gratification through hustle culture that capitalism has instilled in us as a people. And the way I do that, I'm a journalist, so I write a lot of stuff politically with a viewpoint from basically how our revolutionaries were in the past, very socialist perspective. And I also participate in mutual aid works in my city. Next week, I'm actually premiering a homeless food giveaway. I'm cooking as many meals as I can, and then we're gonna a couple of the kids and people, we're going to walk and feed and learn actually about community as opposed to looking out for self. I feel like this mindset of individualism has done a very great harm on our people, and we have to reinstill the ideals of our radical history, which is mutual aid, direct action, supporting our community, which in every way that we can. And so that's how I see it. It's gonna take forever, but you got to start somewhere.
All right. Well, let me know. You have my email, right?
I don't, but I could write it down.
It is themestoth@gmail.com. My theme is take the and out, just my name at gmail.com without the and. And then let me know how that goes next week for the live stream. And I'll include you in the men's panel for February, if you're available, obviously.
Yeah, I'll try to make myself available.
All right, Petty.
Yeah, I ain't much of a words person. I don't have a thing with articulation like KD does, so I apologize. But a lot of people say sometimes that many words, but sometimes few words do trick. And that Dr. Umar feller is strange. But one thing he did say was that black women, I guess, who date out would be able to, I guess, kind of funnel money into the community through death. So that would, I mean, if a white man dies, his money might as well go somewhere good. So, I'll wrap it up by saying that.
All right, thank you, Prince Petty. Razor, I know you're still here. Do you have any final thoughts? I know you just jumped in, but we'll email you and we'll do this again
Yes.
next month.
Yes, and thanks for letting me up. I know people in the chat, they were laughing at my Coors Light. I love my Coors Light. But as far as, your topic, I missed out on the topic. But I will tell you this. I consider myself a passport bro, right? So I guess this is a whole other topic down the road. I say, for guys that are having issues, with family, here in the States, in the matrix, as we call it, relationships, whatever, try to get your passport and try something new abroad. You know what I'm saying? So I believe it opens up new doors and new horizons for people, that are struggling within the family dynamic with relationships out here inside USA. It's something. I'm not telling you guys to 100% do it, and not everybody is going to be 100% happy with that type of lifestyle. But I say give the passport a try, and I think most of you people will be satisfied. But you get that passport, I think most of you people will be satisfied. And I think you will be happy that I came up here and gave y'all that little tidbit of advice to get your passports.
Yeah, I would say actually, to co-sign that and say like everyone who can should get their passports and travel the world and go overseas and get some culture from different areas. I think traveling is very, very important and it's very enriching. I think we should definitely be traveling more.
Yes. And it will enlighten a lot of people.
It will enlighten it well.
Yes. We're gonna wrap up. Oh,
thank
you.
I
put the email in the back chat and we're gonna wrap up.
Don't go to Colombia. Be careful if you go to Colombia. There's a bunch of passport bros who went there and they were beaten. Some of them, their stuff got stolen. They were drugged, the women. These women are supposed to be soft, sweet, and submissive, which is a very odd thing to say, because they were like robbing and drugging men. So
you're right.
Please be careful over there.
I didn't say go there. Don't go. I didn't say go there. So I talk about that on my channel. I don't say go to Colombia because you get scoped. That's Polygamy. So I'm not saying go there.
Sure. For sure. Also, be careful with the black image, because if you go overseas and you engage in bad behavior overseas, you are disparaging the black male image globally. And we don't want to come into a situation where we have to talk about how white supremacy made black people look bad because of quote unquote sex tourism. So just be mindful of the black male image, because that's very important.
Right.
Yeah. Obi, you go ahead and then take us away.
My final thoughts is that it seems that because if these guys are going to talk around the solutions all around, they're not going to be accountable for creating safe and thriving neighborhoods and communities for Black women and Black children to grow up safely. So they're going to dance around, because what it will require men not getting away with a lot of things that we're getting away with. Men are going to have to be disciplined and not get a lot of the things that they're getting right now to create functional society communities for Black kids and Black people to thrive in. So they're going to dance around the thing. They're going to do everything but do the work to make their communities great, including getting their passports, which most of them, 99% of them, are not being successful in. They just keep selling themselves dream after dream after dream. They will do anything but be responsible and do the work that will create a safe community where they can marry women and have children and create safe communities. That's all I got to say.
Thank you, Obi. And thank you, Wake Up Makeup Slave, for keeping me on time. This passport will reminds me, are we vetting? It feels like we went straight into commitment going steady. Girl, period. We will. I'm going to vet over time. I appreciate that, Obi. Wake Up, thank you. Do you have any thoughts before I go? I need to go and get ready for this party that I'm about to be with.
No, your girl came and sat in my lap. So
hey, Ruby.
She just woke up from her nap. So we're gonna be like, good night. Good night, y'all. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Please like the video on your way out. It helps us with the algorithm.
Thank you. Bye. I would go to the Discord, but I can't because I have to go get ready. Bye.
Okay. Bye.
Bye, Ruby.